Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, citizens of the Universal Collective and beyond, welcome to the Pork and Bean Show, starring Fort Cunningham and the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Beans. Sit back, put your feet up, relax and stay a while as we delve deep into the enigma called Sasquatch and beyond, and open your mind up to possibilities you may never have considered before.
It's a hard world to get a break in, and the good thing haven't taken. But girl, there are ways to make certain things pay. Oh, I'm dressed in these rags, I will sable someday. Hear what I say, I'm gonna ride the serpent. No more time spent sweating rent. Hear my command, I'm breaking loose. It ain't no use me down. Stick around, but baby, remember, it's my life and I'll do what I want. It's my life and I'll think what I want. Show me I'm wrong, have me some time, but someday you'll treat me real fine. Now there'll be women and a fortune who just want to mother orphans. Are you gonna cry when I'm squeezing them dry? Taking all I can get, no regrets. When I openly lie, I love the money. Believe me, honey, that money. Can you believe? I ain't no saint, no complaints. So girls, throw me out, any doubt. And baby, remember, it's my life and I'll do what I want. It's my mind and I'll think what I want. Show me I'm wrong, have me some time, but someday you'll treat you real fine.
My picture. Well, there I am.
Frank all my brains.
Sound like you're in a tin can.
What's that?
I said it sounds like you're in a tin can.
It does? How about now?
Well, that's all right, I guess. Let me just make sure I got my mics on right. What do I got here?
Frank all my brains. Well, that
Oh,
was quite an epic show we did the other day. I watched it
yeah, my
3 times.
microphone was too high.
Who,
Huh?
mine?
No, I'm just saying my microphone was too high. That's why you sounded tinny.
Oh, I watched that show. I watched the channeling part 3 times. I
Really?
don't normally ever even watch our shows after we record them.
Hey, I was watching Danny Henderson. You know,
Oh, Danny boy, her pipes are
the
calling.
show you and I did got 8,000 views. That's
Really?
pretty. Yeah.
How many does she normally get for a show?
Well, that's about average. A little bit lower than average for some of them. And I was good for some and lower than others. I don't know. But that's a lot. What I was thinking is you should go on her show, promote your book, talk about this Irie channeling, and the fact that the we have these two women who have Sasquatch children. They're the
Oh,
genetic mothers of Sasquatch children, because that's like, and this whole that picture of being on the craft is just stunning. You know what I mean? You don't have to use the names, or you could use the names, but then you can tie that into your book, and
why don't we both go on?
I don't know, blah, 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 blah. It should be you and the book.
Me and the book.
Yeah, because that's the thing, what I mean? You gotta can't hide. You can't hide off in the corner somewhere.
I got to flog my book, eh?
You gotta flog it.
Flog it.
Honor the effort.
Okay.
Writing the book was the easy part. This promotion, promo notion. Right.
Promoting.
Who you could get on with you is you could get on Barbara Jean Lindsay.
Barbara Jean Lindsay.
Get her to do a show with you, and to talk about. Because look, I think Barbara got the most affected as anybody because she got the full blast treatment.
Oh yeah. When
Remember she was talking about. She made a post something about. She posted something about the show the next day. She said she still hadn't really come down from it.
yeah, I was thinking, when Raja Say was on, and I was asking her about the Love Zap or whatever, and she said, "Birth." I think what she meant was that was sort of like my awakening, my birth into a new kind of consciousness or awareness or something. I think is what she was referring to. I talked to Kevin about it. He watched it too, and he loved it, by the way, and he thought the same thing.
Kevin Royce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was exclusively to you because when Barbara said she was holding a cornucopia with all these stars, and she was saying that, so you're mixed up with the whole segment of human race that's or whatever that cornucopia,
Yeah.
and and then
Yeah.
the end she said it's done, right, or something like that, or it's
It
just
could be. It could have a few different meanings. Here comes Scott. You know Scott?
I don't know if I know him or not.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, he's connecting his audio.
How you doing?
Can you
Hey, can y'all
hear?
hear
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we can
look
hear you.
awesome.
How are you?
me? Great. Awesome.
Awesome, man. So how long
Yeah.
do you have today? Because we got no time limit for our shows. We go, we
Uh, all night.
All night. Okay, this
all
is an all
night.
nighter. We're gonna go all night.
Y'all got,
Except
y'all got
except
the
I'm
coffee
gonna
made?
I'm gonna go to sleep in about 30 minutes.
You are?
No, I'm joking, man. Can't you tell I was there for 3 years? You can't tell I'm joking. I'm always joking.
Well, you're kind of old, you never know.
Hey, we'll get us a pot of coffee going and we'll just keep on going. How about that?
There you go.
That sounds good.
Yeah, maybe we'll invite some people on. You got a lot of stories or
I
what?
got stories, plenty of stories.
There we go.
I
Hallelujah.
think
Hallelujah.
I think
Well,
one of my interviews is probably 2 hours long.
oh, okay.
Oh, so
Well,
that's just a
we'll go
that's
at
a
least
warm
two
up for
hours.
this one.
We've got
Yeah.
we've
Hey,
gone as we've gone as long as 4 hours.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that might be a whole pot of coffee right there.
that was with a bunch of people though. It wasn't just one person.
No, that lady we had on that you were arguing with,
Oh, Barbara Brown, what's her name? Brown. Uh,
Trisha Brown, the lady you were arguing with.
Mr. Brown.
She
Yeah,
went
I
on
had
for
an
over
argument
four
with her,
hours.
but um, I got to give her some props. She's doing some good work out there.
Oh yeah, we
So
don't have
did
to
you?
agree. You don't have to agree on everything, right?
Yeah.
Unless I'm talking to Kurt.
Were you able to get my pictures I sent you on Messenger?
Did you want those? Did you want them put up? I'll get them on right now.
Yeah, most definitely. Yes,
Not the
indeed.
cooking pictures, right?
Oh,
Or do you
you can
want?
throw that in there too. That's fine. That's just something I do. When people bring in the intro, they usually say, "Hey, what do you like to do?" Or this is what I like to do. So,
Okay, well let me get those pictures ready
And
then.
it's just a pork and bean show. You got to give us a recipe for pork and beans.
oh, I got that too. I
All
got
right,
some.
yeah,
Wait till you wait till you see my red bean picture for you.
all right. That's what we want. We'll start off with that, and then
So,
that'll be the start off with the top, and then work our way down.
yeah. So you know I'm from Louisiana, right?
I did not know that.
Yep, we're in Cajun country.
Yeah, one of my favorite places was in New Orleans. Spent
Well,
three
we're
weeks there one
actually at
time.
40. Yep, we are 45 minutes from New Orleans.
Yeah, Tipitinas.
Tip Patinas is awesome.
Yeah, and
Quarter two sisters.
there's another
Yep.
one. There's another one called, I think it was called the Sugar Shack or Brown Sugar, something like that.
Okay. Yep. What about Jack's Brewery? You been down there?
No,
So
no.
New Orleans got a lot.
I was working on the Mississippi Queen.
There you go. Okay.
We were I used to work for a company in Miami that did they remodeling cruise ships. We
Yes,
got this deal to go out there and put on a big Cossack that to sell jewelry because basically those things are like little miniature cruise ships and you go up and down.
that's correct.
Then all the
That
people want to buy stuff, so they have all this stuff to buy. So that's what I was doing. I was putting in this big glass Cossack thing for jewelry.
wow.
Man, I was there doing Mardi Gras. Oh man, I was right through the whole Mardi Gras before I went home. It was amazing. My mind was completely blown.
And see that's every year for us. So that's at the end of January, beginning of February. That's just a normal
Yeah.
thing here in Louisiana.
If I was a young guy, I'd go there. One of the things that I noticed is I was there for 3 weeks, and every time I go out to dinner or something, the women outnumbered the men like about 4 to 1.
Yeah,
That's a good ratio.
yeah, that's I guess that would be about right. I mean, a lot of women go out to dinner and a lot of guys stay home. They work all the time. So, and then it
Well, no, I
depends if
think
they're single or
this was
not, what I mean?
back in the I guess it's 1980s, 1980s, right? And I
Yep,
guess there was something about oil refineries or something about that where a whole part of section of where what the men's jobs were. It was shipbuilding and oil refinery. Both of those things somehow got cut down. So it just left all the secretaries and the ladies and stuff, and all the guys who were working somewhere else, right?
right. Yep. Well,
So
we do have quite a few oil refineries down here.
yeah,
So you got to think about the Mississippi River's right there, and they actually use that for a cooling medium. So what they do is they bring all the water from the Mississippi in, clean it all up, run it through clarifiers, then they run it through completely through the plant. You just in boilers and water towers and all that to do all their process with.
right. It was a
So
great place.
and,
It was a great place, and Cajun music, and
oh yeah,
got to listen to the guy called the King of what was he called? The King of Zydeco. This guy, it was him and his son and a couple other people. And man, there's some music though. I tell you what, you got the best music in the world, that neighborhood.
Yep. Look up Swamp Pop while you have a second. Look up Swamp Pop. You got a second? Look at that on your computer real quick.
Not now. I'm not going to do it.
But just look up Swamp Pop and see what you got.
Swamp Pop. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was at this place, this Sugar Shack, and I'd go there after work, right? We'd knock off work, and then I was out, since we're right on the docks there on the Mississippi River where we're working, I could just get on that trolley and go out, wherever it is, go out east, I guess it is, on that trolley thing. That takes us out to Tipitina's and like places out there. That's where I would hang out, is out in that neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
And I got to know some people out there. I remember one time I went in there. It was kind of in the afternoon. I guess it was like 6 o'clock or something. And he just had so he just had, this was, listen to this guy, and he was the owner of the place, and he got to know me, right? So I'm sitting there at this big picnic table waiting for the band to come on. I didn't have anything else to do but just drink beer. And he got his little waitress there. He said, let's clear out the shrimp boil from lunch. And so she brought out these two, 5-gallon buckets full of shrimp and potatoes and just poured it on the table, right?
Yeah.
I never seen anything like that in my life. I just ate shrimp and then waited around for the band to come on, and what a great time.
Oh yeah. That's just a lifestyle here in Louisiana.
It was also kind of ultra violent because there was a murder every day I was there.
Well, that's the rough side of stuff. I mean, you have your gangs and stuff down there, but if you stay away from that stuff, you're okay. You just don't get involved in the.
That was down the French
lifestyle.
Quarter. Yeah, I wouldn't go down the French Quarter alone. Not as a tourist, anyway.
Right. Yeah. It's a tourist trap, but I mean, at the same time, it's not that bad. A lot of your better eating places are actually not in the French Quarter; they're around the French Quarter, but they're within walking distance of that area.
Yeah, so I was really impressed with that.
Yep. It's a
I
good
could see that. What do they call the Big Easy? That's what they
The
call
Big
it.
Easy. That's correct. It's
I
called the
tell you,
Big
that's
Easy.
what it is, man. That's what it is.
It's a laid back life. I mean, I sent y'all some pictures. You can see the pictures of what we do and how our life is down here. And the cooking and stuff we do.
What I
So when
liked
you,
about it was the 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks before the Mardi Gras, and I did not know this, but every one of the big floats would do practice runs, right?
yep, that's right.
And so it was like having Mardi Gras for a whole 2 weeks. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's a good time. Yeah, you go down there. The funny thing is they throw all these beads and trinkets and stuff like that, and you go down there and you catch the beads and stuff. But what do you do with them? The rest of them it's just plastic beads and stuff
Look,
like that.
I don't care who you are. You could be the president of the world, and when they start throwing those beads, you're on their hands and knees, grabbing them and laughing. I got
Isn't that
one.
funny?
Yeah, I don't care. All your dignity is gone. You're just having a good time.
That's it. What's amazing is when you find people down there, and you go hang out and you eat, and then in between parades, that's what you do. You go and eat and hang out, and then you come back and then you go back to the parades and grab some more stuff. But if you go there and do it right, now the parades run all day long, and then they go into the night too. So you may catch ices, you might catch the cruel toast, you might catch Endymion that night, or the Bacchus parade at night. Bacchus is on a Sunday night, Endymion, the real pretty parade is Endymion, and that's going to be on a Saturday night. Beautiful parades.
It's just mind blowing. I mean, I tell you, I still don't think enough people know how fabulous it is to actually have boots on the ground. It's just
Yep.
that's something you can't really explain to anybody. It's like a Americana that people know about it and they see the videos and the news and stuff on it, but it ain't the same as being there.
I think you have to experience at least once in your life.
Yeah, I was blessed. I wanted to move there.
Yep. It's a good time, man. I mean, it's a laid back life. I mean, we go to work, and on the weekends, like tomorrow, y'all gonna laugh at this. I'm actually gonna cook for 200 people for a 50th wedding anniversary. So I'm cooking jambalaya tomorrow.
Wow, lucky you, lucky them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
every taxi cab driver that I met there, because I would take taxis if I wanted to go somewhere. because I wasn't going too far. It didn't cost too much. But every taxi cab driver was there. I said, how'd you end up in New Orleans? He said, well, I came from Mardi Gras one year and I ended up staying and became a taxi cab driver. So I could see that, you know.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of people come down here to work. Some people work offshore, you know, and other people go in different industries. They may come here through the refineries or different plants, chemical plants or something like that. And some people just come and taste the food and say, oh my God, I've never tasted anything like this. And they stay.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Good times.
Yep, that's our lifestyle. You know, it's just a laid back life. And weekends we get together and cook. You know, LSU's really big. The Saints are really big here, and we like our sports and stuff like that. And
what's a couple of towns that are east of New Orleans?
Let's say you got Slidell. That's east of there. You may have Mandeville.
Well, when I'd go to Tipitina's, right? They'd have the weekends were the big days, but like on a Wednesday and Thursday or something, or Tuesday and Wednesday, they would have these kind of, I don't know what you would call it, like a hoedown or something, but they would take busloads of people would come in from the east, from those two little cities or three little cities east, and they'd come in there with kids and grandmothers and just country folk, and sometimes they had their own people that would play music there, or they'd have like a band, you know, the band that was playing that week would be playing there. Just a phenomenal good time.
Yep. Well, you know, the trains run through there from the East Coast also. Amtrak goes through New Orleans.
Right.
You've got a lot of connections and stuff there. I mean, you've got a major international hub now in New Orleans. And you've got trains. I mean, you got buses that run through there all the time.
So anyway, and I hear they got a lot of activity all around Lake Pontchartrain, everywhere. East and west, I think.
There's a lot of fishing, great fishing down in the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, some of your better fishing's down there. You know, it catches about any kind of fish you want down there. And then there's a lot of good fishing up in different rivers and canals all in that area. So there's a little place that's not far from there. It's called Grand Isle, and they had a Hurricane Ida came through, I guess, last year before last, whenever it was, and kind of wiped some of that out. But it's still good fishing all in that area. So that's why they call this Louisiana sportsman, the sportsman's paradise. And you go up to North Louisiana, where we're from and stuff, and then you've got a lot of deer hunting, hog hunting up there, and that's what I do, and that's how a lot of my stuff started. Or my main sighting happened was up there while I was deer hunting. You know, they came walking up on me.
Well, we've been live for 5 minutes now. So should I introduce the show?
Hallelujah!
Yeah. Hey everybody, my name is Port Cunningham, and I'm here with the world's handsomest man, my distinguished co-host Frank Oliver Beans. And this is the Pork and Bean Show. Thanks everybody for showing up, and today's guest is Scott Pace, and how are you, Scott?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me tonight, guys.
The Cajun cook from Louisiana.
Yeah, we're gonna get a look at some of the things you're cooking. I mean, there's one picture of this pot that's bigger than you. It's pretty wild. Hey, did you happen to catch our last show, Scott?
Our live? Say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Did you happen to catch our last show that we did?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. No, I didn't.
Well, in any event, you can, we're very open here. We've all had a lot of experiences just like yourself. So please, don't think you can't talk about anything you want, because and the reason I say that is last show we actually channeled my clan.
Okay.
We were channeling them right on the air, and it was phenomenal. And
wow. So, okay. Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah. So just feel free to, don't think that you have to hold anything back with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because
woo better than anybody else.
What's that?
I said we do woo better than everybody else. This is a big treat. We got the first time ever in the history of Pork and Beans we have a professional cook going to teach us a pork and beans recipe. How about that? Them apples.
Is there a pork and beans recipe in those pictures? Or red beans, you said?
Red beans down here. So instead of pork and beans, we're big on red beans and rice. So if you look at the big pot, pull up the picture of that big pot and show everybody that's the red beans and rice.
Well, why don't we get into some introduction, and when we get the pictures, we'll circle back.
Leave everybody hungry. You're gonna leave everybody hungry. Oh, you're cruel.
Oh, you want to get into pictures right off the bat? Don't you?
You're a cruel talk show host.
Well, let's see if I can find it. Which one was the red beans and rice?
Just do that one. We can do the other pictures later. Just do that one, so because I'm hungry.
Okay. If I can see which one it is, hang on.
It's a real big one, real big pot.
Oh, well, you got a big metal kind of thing you're stirring?
Yeah.
That one, okay. Let's have a look at that, and then we'll get into the other pictures
have
later
one
on.
of those shovels that you use, those cooking shovels that you mix things with.
Yeah, it's more of a paddle. You call it a paddle.
Yeah,
man, look at that.
All right.
There you go. So that right. Yeah,
Oh,
so that right there is 250 pounds of red beans, and then you have 50 pounds of onions and 50 pounds of Cajun sausage in there. And then you've got all the Cajun seasoning stuff in there. So that right there is all red beans and sausage. Then we would
pork sausage.
Rice.
You got like a half
that qualifies as pork and beans, Louisiana style.
That would be pork and beans, correct.
So how big a container is for the rice? Because you put that on rice, right?
Yeah, we put that on rice. What they did, they made it in big old chafing pans in a big oven, and then we would serve that. And so actually, I was at church. What we did, and that day I was cooking for 3 different churches. So it was like an outreach, that I was doing. And so that's just one of the pictures. Then another thing we cook down here is jambalaya, and I got some pictures out of jambalaya. And then another pastime we have is our crawfish we do down here. So that's the other pictures I sent y'all the food.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is that I hope that those churches were open air with all those.
Well ventilated, huh?
Because you could get some natural gas in an organic kind of way.
That's the most amazing pot of pork and beans I ever saw. That thing. What is it? Is it? It looks like it's got 2 rings in it. One is like a fire pit or something. You put a gas in there. You got to put wood in there or something.
Well, what that is it's a metal ring, and then they set this as actually what they call a vessel head. So it's part of a stainless steel pipe is what that is on the end of it. And up under it, we have a jet burner, and that's how we cook all this stuff with big old jet burners. So you just take that jet burner and you get like a 30-gallon bottle of gas and propane, and you put up under and fire it up. And the first thing you do is cook down all of your sausage. Once you cook that down, you throw all of your onions in, and then you start putting your dry beans in, and you start adding your water to it. And as a level starts cooking it down, the beans will expand. And once they start doing that, then you start adding all your seasoning. Once the beans crack open and start opening up, then you put all your seasoning down in there. And we did put a lot of Cajun seasoning there. And then, of course, we add garlic. I take a whole huge jar of garlic and dump the whole thing in there. So it's garlic powder, onion powder, and all kind of Cajun seasoning there.
Wow.
And you just keep stirring. Just don't let it stick, And your main thing with beans like that, you got to keep them moving. And especially with something that big, you just take that big old paddle that's a stainless steel paddle that I have there, and I just keep the bottom of it moving where that jet burner is, and just keep on moving it. And about 2 hours later, you got red beans and sausage right there, and then you got your rice, and that would qualify as pork and beans, I guess.
Oh, yeah, hallelujah.
Wow.
Take away your chitlins, take away your greens, cause mama's little baby loves pork and beans.
Wow.
That right there is pork and beans.
That's a massive, how many people were you feeding with that?
Oh, I guess about 600 people. Depends on how big of an eater you are. You got what we call the clam shells, the white clam shells, and you have 3 sections to it. You got you lift the lid on it. You got the big open section at the bottom, and at the top you have another section there. And normally we would put the rice down and put the red beans on top of it. And we'd put a piece of cornbread in there, and then they put something else on the other side, like a dessert or something. And that was a meal.
Wow.
Like we had a piece of cake, put a piece of cake in one corner, and then in the other corner you'd have like a piece of cornbread, and then that was your red beans and rice, and that was your meal right there. Then they would put a piece of a little piece of paper to separate it, wax paper in there, and you put your serving utensils in there, and close it up, and they gave you a bottle of water with that. And that was part of our outreach we did.
Is that really spicy, or is it? Or
No, I mean it's got flavor to it. We leave the cayenne pepper out of stuff like that. You know, you have to feed everybody. You got to feed the elderly, and you got to feed kids too. So I mean it has more flavor in it than it has spice. You know, we left the cayenne pepper out of it, but that's where you get your spices when you start putting cayenne pepper and everything.
yeah, yeah.
And we can spice it up though. If you want it, you want a little kick to it. You put that or put your Louisiana hot sauce on there.
There you go.
And that's some good eating right there.
Well, you probably have that on the table for people, right? If they want to add it.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, you got all that's a condiment there that you add, you know. Be like a ketchup or a mustard or something like that on something, you know.
No, I wouldn't just put ketchup on that. That would be a disgrace.
No, I'm just saying that for something else, you know, but not for that. That's always Louisiana hot sauce is what we have. What's even better is a Louisiana hot sauce with garlic in it. You put that on top of it. Really, really good.
I can
They got
see
some products. Yeah, they got a product called Cajun Power. You can put that on there. It's really, really good.
you're getting Mr. Beans hungry there. He's gonna.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Should we stop this and then for now?
So we had to get him a pot
we
up
can,
there.
we can go on to listen to Sasquatch stories. That's what we
Yeah,
came.
we'll revisit these pictures again. We'll come back to them. Okay, so why don't you tell us how
You got the best hobby in the world, because that means you're never hungry. You know what I mean? Well, I think I'll try something new.
Are you big on making a big old batch just for yourself and freezing it and stuff? That's what I do with my spaghetti sauce and stuff.
Yes, 100%. Yes, we'll do that and cook it and freeze it. And y'all gotta laugh. We have 2 refrigerators and 4 freezers. So isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But of course I hunt too, you know. So I was telling you that earlier. I like to hunt, and so we'll make sausage and andouille sausage and stuff like that. And you know, we have plenty of stuff to eat over here. So you know,
You know
if
how to
anybody
make
needs
you know how to make pork sausage? Because I think that would be something that would just be unbelievable to have wild
Well,
pork sausage.
actually, I have a friend of mine that does that. So once I'll harvest my deer and stuff like that, I bring it to him and he makes it for me.
Oh man,
Beautiful.
So like gumbo, I mean,
life's good in Louisiana. Let me tell you, life's
life
good.
is good, man. Life is good.
You better
We
move
got
down there.
we got good food. We got the rougarou down here and the loup-garou, and we have Bigfoot and swamp ape and what else you want to call it? A hide behind. So we got the cryptids here too.
Oh,
Yeah, the
look,
Rougarou, I like them personally, but a lot of people are real afraid of them over there.
Oh
No,
yeah.
we don't want none of that. They don't even want to go down. They don't want some of them. They don't even want to go to a town that's got those things in them.
I've never heard of any of the what you said except for Sasquatch, of course. So what were the other ones? And give us a brief description of them. Or
Certainly. Okay. So the rougarou is actually the female dog man, and then the loup-garou would be the male side of the dog man. Okay, that's 2 Cajun words for it. When you got legend and stuff like that, they say that they actually came over during the 1700s and stuff like that. They actually came from Europe and all that. That's the folklore. But that's the name of it, you know, and it's basically a dog man is what it is. And there are a lot of sightings. I mean, you've got a lot of sightings in the swamps of Louisiana. I mean, if you look below New Orleans, there's swamps everywhere. If you look below Houma, Louisiana, that's all swamp down in there too. So there's plenty of wildlife there. There's deer, wild hogs. You've got, you know, of course, fish. I mean, they'll dig in the water and grab a fish and eat that like it's nothing, you know. And so there's all kind of, you know, vegetation for them down here to eat. And the same thing with Bigfoot. You know, I mean, we got a lot of Bigfoot down here too. So,
yeah,
you know, it's a lot going on with the cryptids. That's for sure.
now, are the dogmen interdimensional like Sasquatch?
The ones that I ran across in my area in north central Louisiana are definitely interdimensional.
Oh, all right. I had some friends who were dog man, and they would come and see me in my dream night after night for about a week. And then the last time they came, he brought his wife and kids, and that was about the most mind blowing thing that ever happened, because his pups were just like unbelievable. They're like the sweetest, like you know how puppies are when they play.
Yep.
Imagine puppies coming to you with hands, And they were just like all over, pulling my beard and just, just full of love and to play. And oh man. So I know they're good. I know at least some of them are good people.
Right. As far as my experience with them, I think it's all about respect. It's about your approach to them. And my approach has always been a godly approach. It's always been a respect. And so far, I haven't had a problem with them, and when I go into my experience, I'll tell you about that, what happened to me. And like I said, I haven't had any problems with them whatsoever. Sasquatch is Bigfoot has followed me home. They've been in our house. I've got footprints outside. I got pictures of them outside in the trees, interdimensional pictures and cloaking and stuff like that. And man, it's been a wild ride. So 2019 is when all this stuff really started for me, and it's fairly recent. It's only 3 years ago.
Oh man, that's early.
Yeah.
Well, that's when the big thing happened, and I'll go into my story with y'all. And 2019 was hunting season for us in October. And so the last 2 weekends kick off, and you have muzzleloading season, which is primitive season. Then right after that, you have rifle season. So when primitive season kicked off, I always go there on the weekends, and every weekend I take an extra day off and go hunting up there. Well, sure enough, getting to my box stand up there, and a box stand, for y'all who don't know what I'm talking about, it's actually like a little small building. And what you do is you go inside the back door, and you have a shooting lane to the left, to the right, and in front of you. And so I went in there, and once I got in there, went ahead and set all my stuff. I have a backpack with all my calls and stuff in it. Then I have a muzzle loader there, and they only get one shot. It's a 50 caliber. And so that morning, sun came up, nothing came out real quick. And all of a sudden about 8 o'clock, I see this doe come out. And so she came out into our food plot and everything. And when she came out, I went ahead and shot. And so I seen her go down. And so once she went down, I knew that, I'd got the deer and everything. So I went ahead and reloaded my gun, and then opened up the door, went to go walk toward her. When I went to walk toward her, she was laying down like this. All of a sudden, did like this and took off. Now the head was down and the legs weren't moving, but the deer got up and took off.
Oh my God.
So that
It
like a
wasn't moving
puppet,
his limbs.
like a puppet just moving through the air.
Yes.
Like,
So
you mean,
that
are you saying like something picked a deer up and carried it off?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Something invisible that you couldn't see picked
Right.
up the deer, which you could see.
Now, let me explain something to y'all. When you see something like that, you're in total shock, because the deer has already passed away. It's dead. Okay. Then you see this thing get up and take off, but the legs aren't moving. The head's just kind of laying there. And I'm like, golly, what in the world is this? And I didn't know what to think. So my cousin called me and said, you get the deer? I said, yeah, I got the deer. But I said, it ran off. And he said, what? He said, yeah. He said, well, I'm going to go get the dog and we'll go see if we can get a blood trail on it. Follow the blood trail, nothing. It's like it just disappeared. So I've talked to other people about that, since then. And I've had quite a few people have shot deer, went to go harvest a deer when they got out of their stand. They met him in a leaning tube or a climber or something like that. Whenever they got down, the deer was gone. So it happens more often than what we think. Okay. I wrote that off as just, okay, it just happened, just ran off or whatever. I never did think of something grabbing and picking it up. Okay. So the next weekend rolls around. And so I'm in the same box stand. I go out there and I sit. It's getting, it's before daylight savings time. So it's about 6 o'clock in the evening, and I'm sitting there messing with my cell phone. So I'm sitting there playing my cell phone, just waiting for the sun to come down a little bit. And all of a sudden I get this really high pitched vibration and this high pitched noise in my left ear. And it's kind of do like this. Well, this time I have my hunting rifle. Okay. So my hunting rifle, my 30-06 is sitting in the corner. All of a sudden I look in the corner and my gun, y'all, starts vibrating like this and it's coming down. And I look at it. I'm like, what in the world? So I grab it. And at the same time, I see something move out of my peripheral view on my left-hand side. And I turn and I look. But when I turn and I look at it, it looks like a stump, like a black stump or something there. So I take my cell phone and I zoom in on it the best I can. And I click the picture. Now, y'all got the original picture right there. If y'all want to try and pull it up, if y'all can. pull that up and look at it, and you'll see the original picture. So
what does it look like, this one?
It looks like the woods, and it looks like maybe two dark figures in it. And I'm going to explain the picture to you when you look at it.
Okay, let me see if I can find it.
Okay. I sent it to you. It's one of the ones I sent you.
I'm looking at your food. I don't know if I can get past
I can't get past the food, right?
I still haven't gotten over the first thing that happened to you.
Is that the one? Is that the one with two pictures in one?
You can pull that up. That would be okay. There's the one that's by itself. That's the original one, but we can probably better explain it like that with the two pictures in it. Whichever one you want to pull up, I'll explain it to you. Okay. If you're able to zoom in and out, it helps. So right then, when it happened, I seen it and I looked at my picture. It looks like somebody in that picture. So I had a little pair of cheap binoculars and I pull them up and I start looking at them. And I look at it and say, oh my God, it looks like a person. So this is where it gets interesting, y'all. Let's see. Yeah. All right, there you go. So on the left-hand side, you'll see that is the Bigfoot right there. And you can see it circled in yellow. Okay, so the two yellow things are one's the Bigfoot to the left, to the right is the dog man. And if there's a way to zoom in, you can kind of look at it a little bit. If not, there should be a picture by itself, the one kind of like the one on the left.
Yeah. That's about. I think that's as well.
Push the little plus sign on there.
I can't see a plus sign. Where's the plus sign? Do you see it?
It's at the top, man. I can see it. It's at the top right. This
next part's where it gets really interesting. Okay, I can't see very well, so I pick up my rifle and I point it toward them. When I point it toward them, I look through the scope, and the first thing I see is the Bigfoot. Okay, and its skin, y'all, is black as coal. I mean, it's black like tar, and it's real shiny. And it's greasy. When I looked into its eyes, and its eyes looked like a normal person's eyes, except for the inside color. And the color of its eyes were yellow and orange. And I could see it. And it didn't have a lot of hair on the face as far as the face part. And the nostrils and the nose, just like it looked like a normal human being, like a really, really dark black person, what it looked like. And the hair on it, a lot of people say that the hair is matted and stuff like that, but this one didn't look like that. This one had some hair on it, but some of it was thick. It's almost like it had long hair, and then it had an undercoat on it, like a cat or a dog, and a little bit shorter hair up under it. And then at the same time, when I looked, I seen something move to its left, and that's the circle to the right in that picture right there. You see, and all of a sudden, that's when the dog man was right there. When I looked at it with my scope, I moved it over. As soon as I started looking at it, that's when it started mind speaking to me. And it said,
the dog man did.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The dog man said, put down the gun or I'm going to come over there and tear that building up and kill you. And I'm like, what in the world? So this time I'm shocked, but it's talking to me. So I'm talking back to it. Right. So I was like, wait, my finger's not on the trigger, you know? And all of a sudden the Bigfoot starts getting into an argument with the dog man saying, hey, his finger's not on the trigger. He's just looking at us, you know? So the dog man said, we got the gun pointed at us. And I can hear him then. It's like something transferred to me. Is the only way I can explain it to y'all is that something transferred between them and me. And I really, really think it was the Bigfoot when it looked into my eye that something happened. Now, I don't know how to explain this. And by means, I am no expert. But since then, I've been able to mind speak. Yes. Now, I don't know how to explain. I really don't. I'm being honest with y'all. But since then, I've been able to mind speak.
I totally believe you, Matt. I totally believe you.
Oh, no, we definitely believe you. But I'm just trying to figure out what transpired. Well, I guess, yeah. He just looked at you. Yeah. What do you think? Have you come up with any theories on why that it happened just at that time? Did he gift you with that ability, or how did that happen?
I don't know. It's just transferable is all I can say. I have no idea. All I know is I have another gift that God has given me now, and I'm able to mind speak or have telepathy with them, or a universal language is another thing I've heard my research.
And it is a gift. And I
Yes.
think the dog man did. I think the dog man did it because he was pissed off. I tell you, I never heard anybody say something so clear. It's like, put the gun down, or I'm going to come in there and tear that building down and
Oh
kill
yeah,
you.
he was
That
serious. And so,
that's like a no nonsense way of getting the point across.
and I believe me, I put the gun down after that. So I'm just sitting there looking at them, and they're arguing, and I'm going, "What the hell is going on here?" You know? And I'm like, and all of a sudden, y'all, this goes by. There's some time had passed, and I'm kind of like in a dazed and confused state here. Okay. And then all of a sudden, this other voice came and it said, same thing. Mine spoke to me again. It said, leave now. So I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. So I grab my backpack, I grab my rifle, I sling open a door, and I'm getting it out, I'm booking it out of there. And this is the funny part. When I walk out, I have to parallel where they are because the trail leading out, a logging trail, lead out, to a laydown area where my golf cart is parked at. I have to go back over there, get on my golf cart and ride out. So I'm walking out and I hear them following me out. They were only on my left-hand side. They were on the right-hand side. I was constantly scanning back and forth on the logging trail. Nothing on my right-hand side, but it sounded like at least 4 of them on my left-hand side. So when I get to my golf cart, I hear my cousin come around on his 4-wheeler. So he's coming around and he passes me up, which he always does. He sees me sitting there, so he knows I'm getting out of there. So anyways, I go right before I crank up my golf cart, I'm looking at the woods and I'm facing them with the woods. So I have to back up and take off. So I'm looking at him and I start talking to him again. I said, look, I've got a 30-06. I got 2 magazines. And I said, if y'all come out of the woods, I'm going to start blasting. I got 180 grain. I said, I'm going to blow holes in y'all. You may kill me today, but I said, I promise you this, I'm going to kill some of y'all. And I said, if you want to come out, you come on out. Well, they stopped at the tree line and they didn't come out. So I cranked up and I boogied on out of there. And that was my introduction into mind speak.
Okay. But I bet you at this point with your relationship with them, you wouldn't even consider saying something like that because there's probably a trust built up since then, right? Or is there?
Oh, yeah. So look, I'm just telling you my experience in 2019 now.
Yeah.
No, but I think you said the exact right thing because that showed them that you're doing what they ask you to do and you're not going to take any shit. And I think that gives them a respect for you. That means, well, okay, we know exactly where this guy stands.
Yes.
They respect you for that.
Right.
Now, have you ever seen like the Sasquatch and the Dogmen together since? Do you think they hang out, or were they just happen to be in the same vicinity at that time?
Well, since then, yes, I've seen all kinds of stuff, and I got pictures I sent you. So that some of the other pictures, when you pull them up, you'll be able to see that. Understand this is when I got into this, I was not a researcher. I was only a hunter. Since then, I became a researcher. I've gone out, I've looked at trails, I looked for tracks, I looked for tree breaks, I learned about tree bows, I've learned about glyphs. I mind spoke to them, they mind spoke to me. We pretty much have a relationship now, which is totally different from that. They have started gifting me, but I don't gift them back for whatever reason. Right now, I just don't feel comfortable with it. And since then, I even went to the Res Nation with Barry Webster and Macy about a month ago and had a totally different outlook on everything. So I got to see Eyeshine over there. I had one walk right next to me over there. I even got pictures of that I sent you. And so this has been totally a journey for me. And like I say, it's a gift. A lot of people look at pictures and they want to call them pareidolia and stuff like that. And the truth and the honest behind this is that some people have a gift to see these things. Some people don't. And when all these things started happening to me, I started mind speaking. I said, look, this is way more than I can comprehend. And I said, I don't understand all this stuff. And they told me this. They said, it's not what you believe, it's what you're willing to accept.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question here. How many times do you see something we say, well, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But what if we just started accepting things that we don't understand, right? What if we just accept it? We get into a car, we don't know exactly how it runs, how it starts and everything like that, but we accept that once we get in there, we turn the key on, it's going to start, we go down the road, correct?
Right.
What about the same thing with this? What if we just accept that there are some things out there that we don't understand, and these things are there all the time, and they have a lot more abilities than what we know.
Absolutely, yeah.
If they want to show themselves to you, you're blessed, and you're going to get to see them. And once you see them, a lot of stuff is going to happen. And I'm just getting started.
Yeah. So your relationship, is it with both dogmen and Sasquatch?
The dogmen in the area that I'm in are more, how do I put this? They're a little bit more standoffish.
Okay.
And they're more like a guard, where the Bigfoot, they'll come right up to you and stuff like that. I've had my iPhone messed up because we have land in North Louisiana, and my father blessed me and my wife and gave us the land and stuff. And that was our old home place. And so since then, we've been developing it, making us a campground up there. And so that's what we're in the process of doing now. So we can bring a camper up there and camp and stuff. And anyways, during that process, I began to take pictures of everything. Every time I took pictures, there's always something in it. Every time. Last weekend, I went up, got pictures. And there again, it's another picture of something in the picture. Some things I can explain, something I can't explain, you know. And when I first got into this, I tried to reach out to people that, number one, were nice to me, that understood that I was just getting into all this. They weren't cruel, they weren't ugly. And that's the key to this in this community, is understand that we don't know everything. And if you can be nice to people, if you have a talent and you have something that you can, bring to the community, do it in a nice, loving, kind manner, because there's a lot of people, a lot of stories that won't come forward because they're afraid of ridicule. And I was blessed to have people that took me under their wing basically and said, hey, yeah, we're going to show you how to do all this. One thing is, I took pictures, didn't know how to look at the pictures and see what was in them. I didn't know that. But then I had people show me how to do all that stuff. And you look for the eyes, you look for different shades, you look for figures in there. The other thing is, at night, I can even teach you how to look for them at night and not even have night vision. I learned that.
Yeah.
So at night, when you're out there and it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, look for a dark figure. Don't look like you're going to see the nighttime. You're going to see trees, you're going to see outline of trees, but look something next to a tree or behind a tree that's darker than a tree. And I mean black. Once you find that, that's it. You found them. And then if you're blessed, they will give you the eye shine. And that's the key right there, is getting eye shine, and then learn about the eye shine. There's different things with eye shine that I've learned. The white and the blue are neutral colors. That means they're peaceful. If you start getting into yellow, you're getting them excited. You get into orange and red, you better get out of there. That means trouble. So.
I'm glad you went out with Barry Webster, because he's a friend of mine I really admire, and he does everything right. He goes out with no guns, and he shows respect, and he prays up. And one of the themes that we've learned over the last 2 years is the people with a strong prayer game, they're strong in their faith, and they're not afraid to show it, or they're not afraid to pray out in the woods. They have a whole different experience than the people who are afraid or skittish and all that other kind of stuff.
Well, that's exactly what we did. I want to tell you about. I was going to tell you about another incident before we get to that, but let me go and tell you about how they followed me home. Okay, and this is going to blow y'all's mind. It blew my mind. It really did. And so we had found out that they were going to clear our deer lease and stuff, and so they were going to cut all the wood off and everything. And so they called me up and they said, Scotty, they're going to start cutting all the wood. And I said, well, it's not our land. They got to do what they got to do. So sure enough, in the springtime, they had cleared it and everything. And all of a sudden, Saturday morning, I woke up. I was sitting downstairs in the recliner, and I was drinking a cup of coffee. And this voice came to me again. And the same thing. First thing is a high-pitched noise. My head goes sideways, and it was right there. I couldn't see it, but it was like in another dimension. It was right there. And it said, why did you tear up my house? Why did you tear up the land? I said, whoa. I said, wait a minute. I said, I didn't tear up anything. I said, that is not my land. I said, that's why you only see me there 5 or 6 times a year. I said, I go there and I hunt there. Okay. I said, I'm there hunting. That's all I do. You'll see me harvest deer. I said, you see me harvest hogs there. And I said, that's it. I said, once we're out of there, we're out of there. And I said, somebody else owns the land. And he said, well, they came in and they tore up my home. So that goes to show you right there that that's where they live at. They live in the trees. They live on that land, and that is their land. Okay. So there's confirmation for you right there. And I told him, I said, look, I'm sorry. I said, I had nothing to do with that. But I said, I feel for you. And I said, I'm really, really sorry. But I said, I do respect you, and I respect your family. And I do consider you the forest people. And I said, I'm very sorry. But I said, I had nothing to do with that. And it's like it had a spirit of depression. It put his head down and it left. And I felt all that. I couldn't see it physically, but I felt all that. And it's like I could see into another realm when they did that. But you're exactly right when you say you get prayed up and stuff like that. So since then, all that, I've read a lot of books, made a lot of contact with different people. Barry, after the next following year was 2020, he's one of the first people I contacted. So he and I have been friends right after my experience. Okay, there's quite a few people out there, but he's one of them. And I told him, I said, I would go into the woods, and for me, it was the time, the end of the year, where I gather my thoughts and stuff like that. And I actually do my prayer time and stuff like that. I go look close to God. I do my time repenting. I talk to God. And for me, it's like a getaway. It would be like my prayer closet. Okay. So they were able to experience my prayer closet with me in the woods. And that's why I think I formed a better relationship with them. And so they seen me my little pocket Bible that I had. I would read my Bible, and a lot of times I'd read out loud and stuff like that. A lot of times we didn't have the box stands. I was doing that, years before that with a pocket Bible and the leaning tube. We had climbers and stuff like that. So, I would pray and stuff like that. They'd hear me pray and, talk to God and stuff. So I think that's where a lot of it came. And yes, when I went up there with Barry, the first night was incredible because we went outside and they had some cabin stuff up there. We went outside, and sure enough, there was eye shine. And so he said, come here, Scotty, I want to show you something. So I got out there and started looking at it. And sure enough, there was eye shine, and you could see it. 2 really big, like CDs, like lights, but no halo. Bright LED lights, okay? And so I said, wow. And I started introducing myself to him. Said, hey, I'm Scott. I'm from Louisiana. I come here to visit y'all, And it's like they started twinkling. The next thing was, Barry was shocked. I just started singing a hymn to him. Okay. So I started singing this hymn to him. And once I sang the hymn to him, all of a sudden two little other figures rose up, and there was 2 more eyes. And I was blown away, y'all. Totally blown away. I could go into hours and hours of what happened on that trip. If you ever get a chance, you get an invite from Barry, go. So all I can tell you is go. You're going to have some life-changing experiences, get prayed up. And like you say, my approach with them was never guns. We didn't have any guns when I went up there. And the first 2 nights and even the third night I was there, totally great experiences. Totally. We had one drop out of the tree right next to us, dropped out of a tree and ran in between. I thought they had threw a stick. I really did. But one of them dropped out of a tree and ran in between us.
In physical?
Yes, correct. 100% physical. We went to this other place called the Monument, and we're sitting in a truck. And Barry, we got there, and they mind spoke to me. They said, stay in the truck. So I didn't get out. I listened to them. I said, okay, I'm going to respect them. I'm not going to get out.
Do you ever figure out what the eye shine's all about?
I'm going to go into that with you, because there's a lot we can talk about eye shine. Okay. Actually, if you go to Res Squatching, and Richard did a video on that. He's actually a scientist, and not long ago he did a video on that. You can go back and look at that. It may be on NOX Gigas, Gigas is another one. It's on YouTube. He might be on that one too. He may have posted that on there. But while I was up there, I did a little talk, and he did a little talk, and he explained the eye shine thing there. And so if you go into Res Squatching, or either NOX Gigas, Gigas, I think it's on there. But yeah, that's, I kind of forgot where I was at. But anyways, I'm gonna go back into eye shine now. She talked about it. So the second night we were there, we went to this one place. I was talking about the Monument. I'm sorry. Let me get to that. But anyways, we went to this one place where he says that he talks about this one that's there, and he calls him Stevie Wonder. I had never in my life I had never, ever, ever experienced anything like this in my entire life. So we walk up there, and of course, him and his brother, Derek, there's a group of us there, okay? And none of us are armed. We all go in there, and he starts talking to them. Then he speaks in his native language. Then he said, look, y'all need to come forward and introduce yourself. So I came forward, introduced myself, said, hey, I'm Scott Pace. I'm from Louisiana. I came a long way. I just want to talk to y'all and see y'all and just give you love, from Louisiana. And look, all of a sudden, we first went up there, we seen these eyes. Then all of a sudden, the whole hill lit up with eyes. Now I seen red eyes, I seen orange eyes, and I seen white eyes. I even seen blue eyes up there. Okay. Now this is the kicker right here. You talk about the eye shine and everything. What I saw was one looking, and when they move, they come down, they glide. They do just like this. You see my hands moving? That's how they do. They move, they glide. You don't see the shaking and stuff when they walk. Like we walk, we would shake or something. They don't do that. They just glide. Real smooth. Okay. Then I seen one was looking, I seen the eyes, and this is the kicker. It turned. And when it turned, it was real smooth. But this is when it got me, and it got me right here, okay? Life-changing experience. There was a light coming out of its eye, coming out of the eye shine. That one got me. That one 100% got me. So there was this other one, and they were getting ready to leave, and so I just stayed there at the edge of the road, okay? So we parked on a logging trail across from them. There was a big hill, and so I'm standing. I didn't want to move. I really did. I said, I want to get all of what I can get out of this here. I always want to get it. I want to, absorb it. What's here? So I focused on one of them. Then it caught me looking at it, and it's way up this hill, okay? And all of a sudden, the eyes started getting brighter. So I looked into its eyes, and I kept on doing it. Now, this is where it gets really cool. That line come out of its eye and came into my eyes, and I just started watching, and I just focused in on it. Didn't try to hurt me. I think it was really reading my life. I really do. It's the only thing I can come up with.
That's exactly what it was doing.
Yes, sir. So look, I was looking at it, and all of a sudden I had this. How can you explain this? Okay, it was a light that was coming, but it had a color that was like an oil sheen on top of water. You ever seen that? How you spill it oil and you got this oil sheen? That thing was coming back and forth. And the only way I'd explain it to y'all is like on the movie Thor, they had that bridge that went across on the movie Thor, and it had those lights in it. That's what it did. Except it was a white, bright white light. And all of a sudden there was a rainbow, if you want to call it. Is iridescent a good word?
Yeah, that's a good
Okay,
word.
let's just use that, okay? And it was coming back and forth, and it kept doing this. And I stayed there and said, Scotty, we got to go. We're going to another spot. And I'm like, I don't want to leave this place. I really don't. And all of a sudden I had to break it with, I said, I'm sorry, I have to leave. And it was like, it started glittering like this, like it was excited that I wanted to do that with it, And then we left and went to another place. And that's where we went down to this bottom called Hard Knocks. When we went down there, we parked, got out, and we started talking. Well, we got out of the vehicles then, okay? And we were standing outside the vehicle, and there was eyes all around us. I mean, you could see them. They were everywhere. And he said, don't be afraid. Don't show them fear. So we got out and started doing it. And I heard something go, bump, like this. And all of a sudden, and when I heard that, my back was turned, and we was sitting there talking to Derek, and he was showing some pictures on his phone, and he started busting out laughing. I said, man, what was that? And the guy next to him, his name is Richard. He's the one who did the video. And Richard said, something just brushed me. He started dying. Derek started dying laughing. He said, one just dropped out of a tree behind y'all, grazed Richard when it ran, and ran right beside me. And I heard all of it. And it hit the ground and took off. Now, let me tell you how long that took. Milliseconds. That's how fast they are. Milliseconds. And I don't know how big it was, but it had to be a young one because it didn't make a huge crash whenever it landed. But it really sounded like somebody took a big old limb and threw them through the trees, like a big stick, and threw through the trees. And this thing landed and took off. Incredible. And then that night we went on in. The following night was for me was what I would call the creepiest night. And we went to a couple of places, but there was one called the Monument we went to, and that's where they mind spoke to me and told me not to get out of the truck. Well, Barry and his sister got out, and they did a live video on Red Squatch. And if you ever want to see live videos with them showing the eye shine and all that, go to Red Squatch and you're going to see it. And so anyways, they get out, and his sister didn't want to get out. She's like, no, I really don't want to get out. And he said, come on, it's going to be all right. And so I just stayed in the truck. So me and this other guy, the guy was driving, his name's Terry. So I'm sitting behind Terry, and he's got the two windows down on my side.
Was that Linda Jo?
Who's Linda Jo?
Yeah, was that the sister?
And her name is Deej. Deej. Okay. Deej is her name.
Yeah. Well, Indians, they call everybody's brothers and sisters, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah. So anyways, they got out, and he was over there talking. He was trying to do a live on this thing over there. And I told Terry, I said, Terry, look out the side right here. I said, I'm gonna start taking pictures. So I just got my phone and started clicking pictures, you know. Now here's a crazy thing. I could not control my phone. They had actually taken over my phone, and like you see how the picture is clear right here. They got on it and started making shade on it. And I didn't know how to do this. I got an iPhone 6S is what I have. It's an older phone, okay? So I'm like, what in the world is going on with my phone? It ain't acting right. So I just started taking pictures. All of a sudden I see this dark shadow. You can hear them walking out there, but you couldn't see them physically, okay? All I could see was a dark shadow. All of a sudden I see this dark shadow walk right up to the edge of the truck. And I see this arm come in like this. What in the world? And I move it back. And I said, no, like that. But I took the picture right before it. And it tried to reach in and grab my phone, y'all. Now, I'm telling you, I was right next to it. Never tried to hurt me. Never tried to do anything. It did get me a little bit. It shook me up. I was like, what in the world? And it wasn't until I got back that night that I started seeing the pictures. And then once we brightened it up, you could see the picture right there. I actually sent that one picture to Matthew Johnson, Dr. Matthew Johnson. You know him?
Yeah. I know him, yeah.
Okay, so he sent me the picture back and he highlighted it for me. He said, check this out. I'm like, oh my God. He actually made it brighter for me. So I thought that was really cool. But anyway, I think I got a picture of that too. I'll send it to y'all and you can pull that up if you have a chance.
So about the eye shine, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
Did you say it's part of the pictures you just sent us?
Yes, I did. I sent you. It's a dark picture. It actually has my initials on it.
Oh, that one. Okay, let me find that.
Yeah, please pull it up because I think it's really a great picture, and you're going to see that it's right next to the truck, and it's like it's looking down to the right. Well, he's trying to reach in and grab my phone, and I felt it's like y'all it's like it physically didn't touch me, but I felt its presence there reaching in, and I seen this hand come in like this, try to grab my phone. I moved my phone back. I'm like, my God. And they were right there next to us, y'all. I mean, it's right. And what was funny was later on, after that happened, Barry had come back in. He said something grabbed his arm, like it was trying to grab, like it went around the front of the truck and went and grabbed the phone.
Yeah.
There you go, right there.
Okay.
So if you look at it, it's got its face right there is the face of it. Okay. And if you look behind it, it's all dark. Okay. But the face came through, and at the bottom is the chin, a little bit up is the mouth. You got the nose right in the edge of the picture.
I'm right here.
Go down with your pointer. Go down. Go to the right-hand corner. Start the right-hand corner. Bottom right-hand corner. Start going up. So if you go up from the bottom right-hand corner, that is the chin, and then the mouth, and then the nose. The little point thing is the nose right there.
Oh, I see it. It's like he's not looking right at the camera. It's kind of looking.
No. You got a side view there. That's what it is.
Kind of like a side view. I can see it pretty good. Brian, put your mouse right over the most brightest spot to the right.
Here?
No, up, right on the edge. It's right on the edge. There, right there. That's his nose.
That's his nose, y'all. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
I was blown away. Not at any time that they tried to harm us or hurt us, okay? But they were interested in what we were doing there. They were right on us, you know? Mm-hmm. And that one right there, you see I'm taking a picture of it. Now I'm shooting it forward. He's reaching his right arm in trying to grab my phone.
Or he was just really playing with you. That's what he was doing.
Well, I think he was more interested in my phone because I don't know if they've ever seen a phone before. He probably never seen a phone, so he was trying to.
Oh, sure they have. Everybody goes out there with their phone and take pictures.
Well, I don't know if they come right up on him like he did. I'm telling you, his hand was right next to mine. It was
for you, man. It was for you. It was just playing with you.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Barry's been doing this for like 10 or 15 years. They know what's going on.
All right, so this picture here, and this is here's another thing that's hard to see, y'all, okay? And go ahead and zoom in some more. Keep going. I'm going to show you what's in that picture. Keep going. Okay, stop. Right above this white thing at the bottom right here, this metal fence post, you're going to go up. You're going to see another fence post with a black thing on the side of it. You see the white thing on the fence post, right? It's a metal fence post. Right above it is another white fence post way in the back. It's hard to see. Now, let me tell you what happened there. There's one about 6 foot tall, and he is swaying back and forth. He's excited that we're there. Now, let me get to the story about what happened. So Derek,
Brian is right next to that center post. To your left. Go down to your left. down, down, left there. Now, right next to that is a little dark spot.
Right there.
There.
I think I see. I want to move right there. Okay, so let me give you a backstory on this. You're going to love this, okay? So anyways, Derek says, y'all want to go ride around and see some? Says, yeah, most definitely. Let's go. So me and another guy by the name of Peter, he's also a scientist. And so he's from Lincoln, Nebraska over there. So anyways, we go around over there with him. We're riding around. So we go to this one place right on the other side of the campground that's there and right on the side of where a buffalo pen is. So what you're looking at is a buffalo pen, okay? And anyways, he starts talking to him. Yo, Situnga. Oh, like that at me. He starts speaking his native language to him. That's exactly what he did. Next thing you know, this little one comes running out. Okay. Now he starts swaying him immediately. He starts putting right hand and he goes to the right hand side. He sways. Then he puts his left hand up and he sways to the left hand side. And he's just going back and forth like he's dancing. Okay. So back and forth, back and forth. Now, all of a sudden, you look up in the trees up there, you're going to see about 3 or 4 of them up in the trees, in between the 2 white trees right there, okay? Now, what is crazy, I don't know if y'all can see this or not, between the 2 white trees right there, there's a tall figure. Now, understand the little one next to the fence post, that fence post is way over there. It's probably 200 yards over there, okay? Look at the black figure between the 2 white trees right there.
Here?
Can you see that? You see the 2 white trees right there, to the little small black figure. Then you're going to go to the right and you're going to see another huge black figure.
This one here?
There, I can barely see the pointer. I'm sorry. Yeah, right there. That's correct. You're on it. That figure right there is probably at least 12 foot tall.
Okay. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Now, this is in daytime. You know, I started putting all this stuff together. I'm thinking to myself, and I started asking Barry all these crazy questions. Well, Barry, how long have y'all been here? He said, Scotty, we've been here since the beginning of time, because our people never left this area. And it's hard for us as humans to comprehend something, you know? You know, I've been to Europe before, and I've been to Paris, and I've seen the buildings over there. I was blown away. But when you come back to the native language and you come out to the native area and their lands and stuff like that, they've been here since God made them. You know, for us, that's hard for us to comprehend. So these sightings that we see right here, we're blown away. But to them, it's like, it's just as common as a cow or a horse or a cat or a dog to them, you know?
Wow.
Yep. So that right there, the figure you're looking at is actually about a 12 foot tall figure that I can estimate, because that small Sasquatch next to that pole, I'm short, you know, I'm 5'6", but this thing was taller than me, and it was probably about 6 foot tall. So I'm estimating that other one to be at least 12 foot tall.
Mm-hmm.
Or taller. That thing looks huge.
It was, y'all. It was really big, but I just took it for, you know, hey, I'm amazed. I'm blessed to be here. And I was just, if you look at that picture, there's a lot of, look for anything black in that figure. And all those are Bigfoots. That is what you call a family of them right there, clan.
Totally. You want another picture? Or?
Oh, yeah, you can pull up any pictures you want. I'd love to talk about the pictures. So that's me cooking jambalaya right there. That's our pastime.
Oh, this is the rice.
No, that's jambalaya.
That's called jambalaya. So the ingredients in that are the Trinity: onions, bell pepper, celery. Then you have chicken, boneless thighs in there. Then you have sausage in there, Cajun sausage. Then you put your rice in there and chicken broth, and then you just basically let it steam itself, and it comes out to jambalaya.
No, but I'm saying there's some rice in there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a rice. That's probably 10 pounds of rice right there.
Yeah.
Dry rice.
Oh, there's your. Ooh, look at that.
Gumbo.
Oh,
that is chicken and andouille gumbo. So andouille sausage, we call that gumbo.
Yum.
That is good on a cold day. That right there is, and there's your crawfish right there.
oh man, there they are.
The Louisiana State University, and there's your crawfish.
I think Mr. Beans wants to go down there.
It's eat the tail and suck the head. That's what you tell. That's what you tell the girls. The girls, how do I eat this? You eat the tail and suck the head.
And there you go. There's all your potatoes and corn and crawfish, sausage. They throw sausage down there too. So that's a springtime thing right there.
Wow.
Up until about June. So February from June, that's what we do. We cook crawfish. The big time to cook it is around Mother's Day. That's a big Mother's Day thing for us down here.
Wow.
So here's a good picture for y'all. This is back in the beginning when I did not know how to look for these things. I took pictures and I felt them there. I felt something was staring at me. So I sent the pictures off to some people that I knew and I said, could you please help me with this? They said, man, you got faces all in this thing. Look at the blue arrow right there. That's a clear, very clear Sasquatch right there.
Looks like it.
Yeah, these things are all cloaking. So I had to have people help me. I didn't learn this on my own. I didn't know what to do. And I said, man, I need help. I feel them there, but I don't know how to look for them. They said, look for the eyes first. So look for the eyes and then look for, an outline of the head and stuff like that. And so what they would do is they had an app on their phone, which they could actually take and blow it up and put circles around it. And that's what they did. And they sent it to me. I said, wow, oh, this is in that one picture. They said, oh, yeah. So this is actually on our property right there in North Louisiana.
Oh, those are your neighbors. No wonder they come to your house.
Yep.
They're already there.
They're there. So that's in what they call Kisatchie National Forest.
I like this face the best, like you said.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that's a good one.
So you've got all kinds of faces in there. Look at the one all the way to the left. It's a big circle right there. That's when it gets me. I'm like, what in the world is that thing?
Yeah, that one looks different.
Well, I'm just wondering if that's one of those dog men that could be like, I don't know, this a strange, like a bulldog type or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
No telling, because they're behind the bushes and they're cloaked and they can do anything they want with their shape.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look like you got a couple of dog type things in there, but you can't really tell from this. All you know is there are beings there. That's what you need to know.
Yeah,
there are beings there looking at you.
Oh yeah. For some reason, y'all, they love me. They come out, they come right out to me. One of the times we was up there, the last time I was putting all the electricity down and putting the water down, my cousin had brought his backhoe over for me to borrow, and I was using it and leveling some of the dirt out and stuff like that. And anyways, you can go back to that verse. I'd like to talk about that too, if you don't mind.
The what? The verse?
Go back. Yeah, the verse, please. Go back to it. But anyways, we was standing there, and all of a sudden the dog starts running to the woods, starts barking. And all these guys are hunters, okay? Every last one of us are hunters. And they all start looking at the woods, and they look at me, and they're looking at the woods, looking at me. And they said, what is that out there? I said, what's going on? I said, I don't know what it is. A couple of them walked away. They left. They got in their car and left. They had their trucks and left. I thought it was funny. This right here, as a Christian, y'all, I questioned God. I questioned a lot of things. How can this fit into God's plan? And how does this, as a Christian, I questioned everything, saying, okay, I'm questioning my Christianity and questioning my faith and everything else. Then I come across this verse. All your answers that you need to know about all this stuff is in the Bible, okay? And this right here sums it all up. You know, so if you read this verse, for by him were all things created. The ones, I can barely read this, I'm sorry. But it's like the things in heaven and things on earth.
Want me to read it? I can see it really big.
Yeah, I'm squinting to look at this. Please read it for me.
Colossians, is that how you say it?
Colossians.
Colossians, okay.
Yeah.
116-7, King James Version. For by him were all things created, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist.
So once you read this and you kind of sit and you start contemplating things and you think about things, the first thing you read is there's some things in the heavens that God has created, and there's some things on earth. Then here's the kicker. There's some things that we can see. There's some things we cannot see. And it clearly states in God's word that there are some things that are visible. There's some things that are invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go into the different powers. Now it gives you a whole different thing right here. There's some things that are sitting on the throne right now that we don't even know and comprehend. There's another thing that talks about dominions. Okay. What about if that could be dimensions? You know, I thought about sometimes when they interpret the words, maybe it's off just a little bit, you know. but there's different principalities. Okay, so you got all kind of stuff that's there. There's powers. So it tells me there's a whole hierarchy to these things and where God is. And I go back to this. Okay, I don't think that they can harm you unless God has ordained it. So that's just my belief, because I had them right next to me before and they haven't touched me, they haven't hurt me. But then I take a godly stance. But on the other hand, I've heard of people being torn apart by certain things,
Well, yeah, but I also think that it's your energy and your intention and all that stuff.
This is actually a great quote, because God is inclusive. He's inclusive of all things, and you can't say this is a demon and this is not of God and this is a devil. You can't say that. Everything's here for a reason, and everything has a right to be here. Even our adversities have a right to be there. We just have to overcome them. But everything is created by the same Creator. I think this is a good one, because a lot of people get stuck on calling these people, they call them demons, or they call them Nephilim, or they call them all this kind of stuff, and I can't go with that, to tell you the truth.
I agree with you 100%. 100% I agree with you. This right here sums it all up, guys. I mean, this is it.
That's it. That's a great quote.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's a good find. I'm glad you found it. So now I got some bullets. If anybody comes up with this, they're the fallen ones, or they're the giants of the old, or something. I don't think so. I think they're here before we were.
Sure.
Well, that tells you right there. What it tells you is that all these things are in place. There's different powers. There's different thrones. There's all this stuff God created anyway. The Anunnaki is in the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay. That's in there. It's in Genesis. Okay. He told you all these things there. When the children of Israel came into the land of Canaan, and they had to fight the giants, what do you think they were dealing with? They were dealing with all these things, but God gave them supernatural powers to go and knock all these things out.
And it's all part of a plan. It's all part of what's going on. So you can't say that there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that is not of God.
Right.
Because that's, if there was something that was not God, then that would deny that God exists as the all powerful, creator.
Yep.
So I wanted to go back to the eyeshine thing, and I'll ask you, since you're pretty much up on the Bible, can you quote John 1 out of the Bible?
Not right off the top of my head. I know John 3:16, but not John 1.
John 1, he goes, in the beginning was the Word.
And the Word was with God.
And the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Correct.
You know the rest of it?
I can't right off the top of my head. No, I can't.
Okay. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And there was nothing that was created that was not created by the Word. And that Word was made light, and that light is the life of mankind.
Yes.
That's what eyeshine is. Break it down.
Yeah.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was made light, and that light is the life of mankind. And the Word is God. So when they show you that white light coming out of their eyes, that is the Word. You're looking at God. That's the Word made light. That's the Word made light. And to me, what they're doing is they're giving you a gift of saying, we are God's people. We are God's people. And we're too dumb to know that if any being was got light coming out of their eyes like that, pure white light coming out of their eyes, we're too dumb to say that's God light. We used to think of that's the last thing we'd ever think of, but John 1 is right there. That's what
I am blown away. I'm truly blown away by this, because see, I love this, because every time I have a different show with somebody, I always get something new. This right here, I've never looked at that verse like that. Isn't that amazing?
Well, the reason why I would have never thought of it either, but one time when I was in my 20s, I was looking for these God men of India, right? And I met this guy. I heard about this guy who was he was a fully enlightened man, and his name was Sri Chinmoy, and he had this. He was going to have this talk, right? So me and my buddy went down there to go to the talk, and all this guy did was he sat on the stage, and just a few minutes he went into like what Christ would say, when that eyes become single, your whole being will be filled with light. Your whole being will be filled with light, right? So this guy's going into samadhi, right? And then he started looking at every single person in that, and it was this auditorium like where you go, where the parents go and watch their kids get graduated and stuff. It's like a big hall, or like a concert hall or something. But anyway, so he's just sitting there with some dim light on him, and there was no light on the audience. And then when he finally went all the way over to where we were, and he looked at me, right? I could see the light coming out of his eyes, and it was white, blue light, white
Yep.
light, and it hit me, and I go, this guy's showing me the light of God inside him. I
Wow.
saw that. I saw that when I was 25. And then so now I know for a fact this guy is a God man of India, and he filled his body up with light so he could show us what that looks like, to have your life light energy so light that it comes out your eyes. Now Sasquatch can do this, and they can just go to their whole being becomes light.
Right.
Because you see people talk about them being as balls of light or go invisible and all this kind of stuff. This is supernatural, but it's not supernatural in the demonic level. It's the supernatural in the angelic level.
That is awesome.
Just like we have holy men and saints, they have their holy men too. And when you see that white, pure white light coming out of their eyes, that's a holy man there.
Wow. So they definitely can see the light inside of you.
That's it. They can see the light in your heart.
Right. That is amazing. Totally amazing. I've never looked at it like that. Now I'm blown away right now. I'm just like blown away. Like I said, everything you ever wanted, any question, any answer is right there. You just got to go search for it. Totally blown away. That is incredible.
But and to me, that's why I do what I did, because it's so few people. They're all looking at animal or primitive human, or no, these guys are the most spiritually advanced.
They're way more
at one with the Creator.
they are one with the Creator. You're 100%. They are. They are there. It's amazing to me how people say all these things about them, these horrible things about them, but I never do that. When they come around, I can feel them come around. The first thing I get is a high-pitched noise. Then I know they're there. I asked them, talking about this. This is amazing you brought this up, because I wanted to put them to the test after they started mind speaking to me, right? So I said, do y'all know God? They said, yep. I said, you know Jesus? They said, yes. And I said, well, how can I get to have my relationship better with God and Jesus? And this is what they told me. You need to be more reverent.
Whoa.
Now, what does the word reverent mean to both of you? What is your definition of reverent? That's deep. That's real deep. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay,
more godlike, is that how you would say it? Or one with God, or? Correct.
That's what they came to me and told me. It's more like being more holy, more godlike.
Reverence is, you have to like have God as your target and appreciate and so there's an element of seeking and it's like turn into the God channel and want to watch that show. That's reverence, right? Like you choose God over everything else.
To be more godlike, you have to be more holy. And that means getting your priorities straight, getting your life straight, And I was blown away. I really was. I was like, wow, this is amazing, So that showed me right there, they're not demons, they're not bad people. They're just different. And everybody wants to call them this, they want to call them that. So not long ago, I was supposed to go up to my land in North Louisiana, and I couldn't go, and I was really pretty much upset. I was depressed. I couldn't go and everything. Some things that came up. And so they came and gave me a vision, and I thought this was pretty cool. And what they showed me was I was sitting on my land in a lawn chair, and one of them came and sit right beside me. And it was getting close to a sunset. And I was sitting there, and it's like I wasn't in control of anything. I just turned and looked at it, and it looked at me, and it said, "Why are you so afraid of us?" And I said, "Well," y'all just look different. Sometimes y'all look like apes, you look like, just look different than us. And he said, well, would it be better if we looked more human? I said, yeah, it probably would. You look more human, this would be okay. And he said, like this. And he shook his head, and then he looked back straight. And I remember seeing the sun setting behind us. and the sun was coming through its hair, and it just looked, you know. It was like telling me, don't be afraid of us, you know. Now, what's ironic is that was right before my trip to go up to Macy. And when I got up there, I didn't have the spirit of fear on me. You know, I was just more like, I was eager. I was more passionate to find out more from them. And I learned more that weekend than I ever could have desired anything. You know, I got everything I wanted, everything. And what was funny was when I came back, I got back home and I started thinking to myself, and I said, well, I don't need to do any more research, and I've done all I needed to know. And they come and tell me, they said, nope, the best is yet to come.
They told you that?
They might have spoke to me and said, nope, the best is yet to come.
Well, that's because you're going to come on the Pork and Beans show. That had to be the reason. That had to be it.
Oh, that's it. We got to share everything with y'all. Isn't that funny? That is so cool.
And how long ago did they tell you that?
Oh, it was a little over a month ago. That happened.
Well, you got something really great to look forward to.
Well, a lot of stuff. Let me put you like this. They're getting closer and closer to me all the time. So I guess it was a couple of weekends ago I went hunting, and it was actually the last weekend in October. And so it was early in the morning. It was still dark. I got off my golf cart and I went to grab my backpack. I always put my backpack right next to me so it doesn't fall off the golf cart going to the woods and stuff. So I had my rifle there, and I put the sling over my shoulder, put my rifle up there, and I grabbed my backpack in the other hand, in my right hand. Now I looked down at the seat before, okay, there was nothing there. I looked back down at the seat that quick. I grabbed the rifle, put that on and the backpack on my right shoulder. They put a stick right there for me, a little small stick. They just laid a stick right there for me on the seat.
Yeah.
And I said, wow. I said, thank you. I said, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. They let me know that they don't have any intentions to harm me, but they're there with me. They let me know that. Okay. And I thought that was really cool. That was a nice gesture. You know, if they would do that.
They're mind blowing how I don't know how courteous or mindful that they can be of us.
Oh, yeah.
Much more than we can be of them. Like, you know, we think about this and that, and then we think about Sasquatch, and we think about this, but they're just right there with you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had, you know, before all this stuff happened, everything, I've had them walking into the woods. You know, I've had them there, and they would parallel me walking in the woods and stuff. And I thought that was pretty interesting, you know, that they would parallel me in the woods. One time when I was going into the woods, before this happened, before my sighting happened and everything, I remember it was really cold that morning. For us, it's cold. I mean, it's 30 degrees down here. Nobody wanted to go hunt that morning. I said, well, I'm going hunting. I don't care. So I'm going to get out there and see if I can shoot me a deer. So anyways, I went out there and I was in a leaning tube. And so when I climbed up in this leaning tube, the leaning tube leans, looks like a ladder. It leans against a tree. So when I got into it, didn't make hardly any noise. But when I sat down, it creaked. Eek, eek, like this. It eeked. And all of a sudden I heard something. It was like it was laying down behind me, and it got up and walked away. And I heard it. And I just like, I felt it in my head and everything, that it was a Bigfoot, that it walked away. I felt something was right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell us some of the stuff that so they told you some stuff about, you know, God, Jesus and stuff of that nature.
Right.
I'd be more reverent. What else? What other profound things have they told you?
A lot of times I don't care on conversations with them. I ask them questions and I leave them alone, you know.
Or taught you.
What's that?
Or taught you. Maybe not in words, but just
mind speak, just tell you stuff. I mean, it's they don't always come in and say, so to say, get, you know, in my life and stuff, but they always show you they can come at any time, any place, anywhere. I had one show up at my job one time, and it was on top of the roof. And that was pretty wild, and it was big and it was hairy, and it was just looking down at me. It wanted me to show, and that was last winter. It showed up.
So was that in the full physical?
Oh yeah, 100% in the physical. There's some railroad tracks that run a business, and so
hold on a second. It showed up at your work on your roof, and
Yes.
It was completely physical. Now, do you think that somebody else, like one of your workers, do you think they would have seen that, or do you think that was just for you?
Just for me. It was just for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know what that. Yeah, I know how that is too.
So the shadows, you know how they'll move in shadows, right? So I've seen a dog man before, you know, in certain areas it shouldn't be in. I've seen when it went across, you know, it was just a shadow. It was a dark shadow. And it was a perfect figure. It was a perfect figure of a dog man, really tall. He was about 7 feet tall, ran in front of me. I'm trying to think of some other things that they've taught me, because I would sit there and, you know, sometimes when I go to work, I have about 30 minutes before I go in. I'll sit in my vehicle and just kind of sit and talk to them and stuff. Main thing they tell us is don't be afraid of them. You know, just don't walk in the spirit of fear with them, because they said, we're not here to hurt you. They're going to protect their clan. Yeah, I believe they can be killed. And the thing of it is have a love and respect for them. And that's one of the things that I when I mind speak to them, I talk to them when I go into the woods. I said, look, I want to come in here and I want to be at peace with you. So I'd like for you to be at peace with me, right? And it's like we have an understanding. And after that, it's just interaction. You know, they'll come run by me. They'll do this different things. Early on, right after I had my sighting, I had one young one that came over from National Forest, crossed over, and I've only had one bluff charge me one time, and that was it. And it was a young one. And when it came running at me, it was like almost like on all fours, like in a spider type thing. And it came right at the edge of my land and was sitting there just looking at me. I thought that was pretty wild, you know.
Yeah.
But as far as inspirational things, you know, I'll try to carry on conversations just to ask them about things of the universe and stuff like that, you know. And
what have they told you about the universe and stuff? Yeah, I mean that's what my guys do. They teach me like universal truths.
Well, the universal truth is we're definitely not alone. You know, we're not alone. There's a lot more stuff out there than what we know and what we're able to comprehend. You know, that we're not the only species out there. That's for sure. You know, there are other people, and
well, yeah. My guys have told me in many different ways that we're all one and all connected. We're all part of a big collective that makes up everything.
Right.
Is that
right?
Your understanding?
100%. And I'll give you an example of that. So after Hurricane Ida, my wife and I were sitting outside because the hurricane came through, knocked all the electricity out, and you hear everybody's generator running, stuff like that. There was no electricity. And the only electricity they had was people had generators and stuff. And so we were sitting outside. It was kind of cool after the first evening was kind of cool outside. So we look up in the sky and we see this bright white light coming at us. Okay. My wife said that looks like an airplane. I said, no, that's not an airplane. I said, I said, no, one's too low. And I said, the next thing is that that's not a flight line. I said, the flight lines go from east to west. They don't come out of the Gulf of Mexico toward us. So basically it was coming to the west side of New Orleans and coming toward Baton Rouge. And it was coming that way, you know, and it was coming straight out of the south. And the more it got closer to us, I said, let me just try something. Universal language here. I said, watch this. I started talking to him. I said, hey, I can see you. All of a sudden, like you see this light up here, it was a bright white light like that. And it turned to like a CD. And it was a blue and silver bottom. The light went out, and all of a sudden, all you could see was that blue and silver. And so they heard everything I said.
Sure.
And they came at us. They were coming right at us, and my wife was getting kind of freaked out. And I was like, don't worry, they're not going to hurt you. If they wanted to get you, they'd zap you and bring you up there with them, you know. But anyways, they'd come at us, and it went at an angle. Then it went west, and it took off toward Texas.
But when you say speak universal language, what do you mean by that? To me, okay, no, I'm not. I've got my own definition, but I mean,
okay.
I'm just interested in what you meant by that. I mean, because when you said that, then you just said you spoke to them in like an English. So what is universal language?
Universal language is more mental, and it's
energy,
more
right?
Speaking to them. But what you're doing is you're mentally sending something to them.
Right,
okay?
right.
Speaking it, you're actually speaking it out, but you're mentally putting something to them. And
okay.
so universal languages is everything that's out there. We have the ability to talk to them, but we don't exercise it because we don't know how to use it. It's kind of like if you were to give a cell phone to somebody and say another country that doesn't have cell phones. You understand what I'm saying? They would look
Sure.
at it and wouldn't have to use a device. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so that's the same thing as I believe there are a lot of tools that we have there's a lot of ways to communicate, but we haven't learned how to exercise them right now.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe that's what they're trying to do, is teach us in our own time, in our own space, how to do that.
Right.
I
Well,
believe 100%.
I mean, they've enhanced my stuff. I mean, well, if you want to call it abilities or whatever it is.
You're a healer now, man. You're a bona fide healer. You might as well step into it and admit it.
And
Yeah, really.
and you know, they've obviously done stuff with you that enhanced you.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people have a really powerful spiritual, heartfelt connection with them. They find out that they start developing these abilities. So I think they are teaching us and introducing us to the abilities that we have that are kind of latent.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things is I have ability is really strong now to have a knowing, so to say, a knowing before things happen.
Right.
And that's one of the things I have. Some
wow,
people call that a seer. Is that what you call a seer?
Yeah.
Is that right, Mr. Beans? You call it a seer?
Precognition, maybe too.
Oh, there's 100. There's
church
100
will- in the
but
church
really, it's
will-
all just energy and different frequency, different bands. So some energy you see, some energy you hear, some energy you just know. You know.
So
Yeah.
in the you know, some people call it using your third eye, stuff like that. Well, in the church world, we call that a prophet. You know, they have some prophet
Same
ability.
idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
No,
let me catch you up on what's going on in the chat on
As you're looking at a few, select a few. Let me
there's
just
like
ask.
there's like 100 comments in there.
Let me just ask you something, Scott. While he's looking up a few of those. So
Certainly.
the universal language or whatever. Do you ever get like? This is one of the big dramatic things that happens with me. Do you ever get like big downloads of information and then suddenly you just know stuff, but you don't you know it? It's just
You know,
knowing, but you don't
How
get.
to get there? You're right.
You
How
know
did
how
you
it
get there?
got there? Well, you can feel the energy coming in sometimes,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
you don't. But you just start knowing a bunch of stuff, and it's kind of like you just have a knowing. You know, that's the only way to say it. You just know.
100%. I mean, so to let you know my background, I'm a mechanic, and a lot of times I didn't know what to do or how to fix it, stuff like that. All of a sudden, I just get this download, and I immediately know how to do it.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's yeah.
There's an explanation. I mean, in fact, I see things in videos. Okay, so when I see it, I see a video. That's where I see things. You know, I'm more of a visual worker and stuff like that. You know, if I see things and
That's called clairvoyant.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so what are some of the comments, Mr. Bean? Sorry about that.
Oh, just Thomas Cardo says just a theory, but the outer realms. David from Texas says I totally agree. Thomas Cardos, this reality is so vast. Oh, here's one. Ghostly Hunter. That's what a name. Ghostly Hunter. He said, that's what I feel when I'm walking amongst them in the forest. And we're talking about these connections and downloads. This is the current ones, right?
Yeah.
100%. Yep.
David from Texas says, yes, dreams involved as well, with us as well. So he's replying to, And Mary Jean Sutton, yes, look up Barry Webster. I think you guys are already friends. If not, befriend him. So I guess she just jumped on late. She didn't miss that Barry Webster part. Ghostly Hunter says, I believe these beings are there to teach us that they are slowly revealing themselves to us. And I think that's true. I think if they came on too fast, it'd blow our little circuit breakers out. So they got to come in real slow and gradually build up our surprise factor, our wow factor. You know, they go slow on it.
That's part of it.
David from Texas says, shout out to Rez. Deb Matthews, I see more Sasquatch in Dreamtime than the ones physically. So this is all paranormal, normal.
Yeah. As far as what Deb said.
Deb, yeah.
They've given me some answers, come into my dreams and given me some answers to things that I was pondering in real time. And then they would come into my dream and give me the answer. Like one, for instance, and I've talked about this many times, is I was pondering if they can shapeshift into people, which they can. I know 100% they can. They can shapeshift into ravens, anything basically. It's just like they just put, it's just visualize and they shapeshift into them. And I'm not saying I'm tongue tied right now. I can usually say that way more eloquently. But anyway, so I'm pondering that, and some of this stuff is so fantastic that you have to use discernment too. Otherwise, if you start believing everything, that's not good either. So you have to use discernment, and especially with all the fantastic things that happen with us. But so I'm pondering this: can they shapeshift into people? Even though I had seen it happen, and I knew it can happen. All of a sudden, I had a dream that night of a Sasquatch walking by me, and what does it do? It shapeshifts into a human.
Yep.
So
I've had about Sasquatch and stuff. In fact, lately I've had some too, and a lot of them are interacting, and I think they're trying to lead me in a certain direction.
Yeah.
To where I think that some of us are gifted to where, because we're more accepting of the things that are out there and the way they are, we're the ones that they're going to come to. Okay, they're not going to ones where people out there beating on trees. Not going to the ones that are shooting at them with guns and they're sitting in the woods, because they can see you. They walk right next to you. They're so fast they can blaze right past you, and you can shoot and a bullet won't even graze them. And so they're not going to be around those type of people. They're going to be around the ones who are more open, the ones who are more godly, the ones that are more accepting. That's for sure.
Well, my guys are like teachers. They teach me a lot of stuff. It's like a teacher-student relationship. And if you don't have a heartfelt connection, and if your vibration isn't high enough to understand, because it's kind of like they're so high, they kind of meet you. You meet them 100%. In the middle there somewhere. If you don't have that, then they're not interested in interacting with you, because they're not interested in entertaining us. They're interested in showing us who we are,
right?
Because we are what they are and capable of, and they're interested in teaching us. And they're not interested in some guy out there measuring tracks and like wanting to shoot them and thinks they're a dumb ape running around. They've got nothing to teach them. They've got nothing to show those guys.
I got to tell you some funny stuff. So I started asking them about mind speak. Okay, so I started asking about levitation and stuff like that. So, well, if y'all can do all these different things and all that, I said, can you teach me how to levitate? They said, yep. They said, you got to be careful. So I said, okay. I said, well, what about the cloaking part and all that? So anyways, my wife and I were inside, and we let our dog out one time. And so the dog usually go out and do his business and come back in. Well, she asked me, she said, Scott, I said, the dog come back in? I said, no. She said, where's the dog? I said, well, I don't know. Go outside and look for it. So both of us went outside. We looked for the dog. Can't find the dog nowhere. Talking about the cloaking part and doing stuff, okay? So anyways, I get on the golf cart and I'm riding up down the street, running our street stuff around here and talking to the neighbors and all that. Don't see the dog anywhere. Meantime, my wife goes outside and she starts talking to him. She said, if you have my dog, please bring her back. All of a sudden, I have a big 3-car garage outside. All of a sudden, she hears the roll-up door on the inside start banging, okay? She walks, so he has to go inside, get the key. She goes and locks my shop. Guess where the dog is?
Yeah.
Inside the shop, behind a locked door.
Inside a locked shop?
Inside a locked shop. Now, can they come and take us to do things with us? Yeah, they can do all that.
They just did that to give you a wow. That's what they did, give you a wow.
That's cool, man.
That's cool.
There you go. They show the things that they can do and what their possibilities are,
Yeah.
I mean, here we go into some other stuff, okay? So once they trust you, they're going to start intermingling with you at your house and stuff like this. So this is some of the crazy stuff. I wasn't going to get into this, but I guess I'm going to spill the beans. How about that? I'm going to let it go.
Let's spill the beans on the Pork and Bean Show. Red beans.
Everybody out there who's got some kind of a spiritual or connection to Sasquatch, come on to the Pork and Bean Show and spill the beans.
Here we go. You ready? So anyways, they drop off 2 juveniles at our house, and they're staying with us, okay? And I fill them in here, and then last winter I grew a beard and everything. I had a beard growing and all that. And then in the middle of the night, they would start playing with my beard. stroking my beard and waking me up. And I'm like, oh Lord, y'all got to stop all this, just stop, you know? So I had to accept that they were here. What the problem was when they started getting into being bad kids. They would hide stuff from us. We go look for stuff, couldn't find it. I get ready to go for work. I couldn't find my keys. I couldn't find my wallet. And it's like, sometimes they would hide it and move stuff around. The other time they would cloak it to where I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
It would be right there on the table and they would cloak it.
Yeah.
And I knew I'd put my stuff there. I said, where's my stuff? I told my wife, I said, where's my stuff at? I said, I can't find anything. She goes, baby, it's right there on the table. Go look. I said, it was not there. So finally we had so much stuff go on. Oh, here's another story. My wife had surgery last December and it didn't go well. Okay. So she had a hip surgery and she's still suffering from that. So anyways, I had to go back to work. I took a few days off with her and everything. And it was about a week of stuff. And so we have a 2-story house. I'll upstairs and she's downstairs now. And she has to sleep in a recliner. And I sleep upstairs and everything. But anyways, we have track lighting that is in our kitchen. Okay. And she texted me. She said, Scotty, she said, there's 3 orbs in the house now. I said, really? She said, yeah. There's 3 blue orbs. And she said, also, they moved the track lighting. I said, do what? She said, yeah, they moved the track lighting. I said, you gotta be kidding. So she sent me the picture, and sure enough, they had taken 3 of the lights that were, I had to point in different directions to give more light and stuff like that. They take 3 of them and they point them right at her where she was at in her recliner, where she slept at and everything. And so when I got home, I looked at it, I said, wow, that's something. So I began to mind speak to them. I said, why did y'all do that? Why did y'all move the lights? And they said, because to keep evil spirits away. I said, do what? They said, yeah, to keep evil spirits away. So I'm blown away. And I'm thinking to myself, well, there's something to the darkness, right? There's something to these things that are bad, that they can't walk in the light.
Yeah.
All throughout the Bible too. You know, if you're a child of God, you walk in the light, you always have the light. And so there's something to that thing right there. So anyways, yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've had, you know, it's nice having people like you on and other people, and people who haven't quite, well, and people who don't accept the experiences as fully as we do, to share their experiences, because they, you know, it verifies them or whatever. And you know, it gives them validity, and it makes them think, yeah, I guess I'm all right. Other people are having these experiences. That's one of the big things that we like to do on this show. And you were talking about, and this isn't validating something for me, because, you know, what we're talking about is when you have the depth of experiences that we've had, we kind of know this stuff anyway. But there was one thing that you said that was kind of funny, that they've been doing with me at the same time as they've been hiding stuff on me too, right?
Oh yeah.
In my room, I had I had my car keys, and I'm trying to get somewhere, and I really had to get somewhere fast. And I tore that room apart, up and down, looked everywhere. I even looked in plastic containers and stuff, right?
Oh,
like places I would have never put it. And I looked in this one particular spot that had a lid on it.
Yeah.
You know how when you're looking for something, you just keep looking over in the same places because you just can't figure it out. There's only so many places. So I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking. And about the 4th time I looked in this one place with a lid on top of it, there's my keys in it.
Wow.
You know, the same kind of thing as your dog, except not quite as dramatic, but similar kind of thing, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's just like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, it's bizarre. That's all I can say. And the more you accept, the more they're going to show you.
Yeah, exactly. And the less fear you have, the more they're going to show you.
That's what I think is phenomenal. Is that they keep showing me more and more and more stuff. You know, and I mean, it's more stuff. And as far as my ability to learn and to grasp things, it's not about me grasping. They tell me it's about your openness. The more open you are, the more we're gonna give it to you. In other words, we're gonna download to you. But if you tell us to stop, we're gonna say, okay, we're not gonna. You know, they're actually very respectable people. You know, they're not gonna give you more than you can handle. And I love that about them, is that they're not gonna try to download too much information for you. They're gonna give you just enough that you get it, you absorb it, and you understand it. If you have questions, you ask them, and they'll answer your questions. I've never had them never one time not answer a question that I didn't that I asked him. Not one time.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, can you ask them a question for us right now?
I can try, but right now I'm not getting a whole lot right now. But normally in interviews and stuff, I get stuff.
Just try it. Ask them if they're fans of the Pork and Bean Show. I give it a try. See what they say.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for something. I'm not hearing anything right now. I think they're just kind of laughing. Just kind of laughing.
Oh, you heard a laugh?
I just hear it's just like a chuckle. That's it. I get a high pitched noise when they come.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Almost every show, the Sasquatch come around and they either bug one of our guests or they light up somebody in the audience. They definitely come around. They're watched for sure.
Oh yeah, we feel them. I feel them every show basically. So my clan leader told us something really interesting that you might like. We channeled, like I said, the whole clan, or at least the 3 that I know on the last show, and it was phenomenal. I know it was them because their personalities were just coming through and just the stuff they were saying. And you know how I'm sure you're probably aware of this, is that time is not linear for them. So they can access everything. The past, the present, and the future are all accessible to them in the now.
Right.
As a matter of fact, that's what Ari, my clan leader, said during this interview, that there is only the now, which was profound, and that I knew anyway, and a lot of people listening to the show knew. That was profound, but he also said, we're not from your time.
Wow.
He said, we're not from your time. Now, isn't that pretty cool?
That's amazing. Now, as you were talking, I was getting some download right now, and they started talking to me about our bodies. And they said, we destroy our own bodies, is what they were showing me, what they were telling me. Said that they don't live in time. What there is you're allowed so much time that you have, and you're supposed to get 100% of your time. But they just showed me, due to stress and other things like that, that's what happens to us, and that's why we don't last as long as we don't last.
Just as I was mentioning that point, that's very cool. They just gave you
that. So you talk about channeling. This is funny. The whole time we've been talking, I basically been telling my stories, but I've been listening to them and what they want me to say. So that's how it works for me.
Works for me. That works for me too. I like what you're doing. Just keep doing it.
So as things come up, when you talk about something, everything. In fact, they just gave me that whole thing of our life and how we're supposed to live, and the thing of it is that people don't understand it, is that we destroy ourselves.
Yeah,
we destroy ourselves.
When I'm talking on the show, they usually give me some kind of energy nudge.
Yeah,
it's usually related to that they really like the point I'm talking to, or they want to emphasize that's very important, and they give me a yes. But one time, a couple times, one time in particular, somebody said something they didn't agree with, and they let me know right away.
Yeah.
I actually told the person in a polite way that no, that's not true. That's not true. So they're always educating us and always teaching us, especially as we're talking about them, and that's when it's really heightened.
So they just gave me something else for you, and they said to tell you this, that everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial.
Say that one more time. I didn't catch that.
Everything is permissible. Not everything is beneficial.
Oh, that's
what? Okay. You know what that means? I'm getting energy now. I just got energy. You know what that means? This is that is an answer that I've always said. You see, that they mirror us. They mirror us in what we like and what we believe and everything. And you know why that is? It's because we're on a soul journey. We're here to learn our soul lessons, okay? And so they say everything is permissible because they want to teach us and interact with us and that stuff, but they do not want to interfere with our lessons, because even the bad stuff we have to learn, and there's a lesson from it. So they don't interfere in that way. And that's why I think they say everything is permissible but not beneficial. That's exactly why. Because they can't, there's free choice, right? What are you laughing at, Beans?
They're lighting you up, man. I'm just watching them do it. They're lighting you up. They
Yeah.
push your buttons in a positive way to get you like
Yeah.
all excited. I'm just thinking, I'm just so happy that they're doing that because I like to see you jump around in your chair and get excited.
Did you see me just get a tingle just then?
Yeah.
They
You know what I
lit me
mean,
up.
though? That's what they told you. That's the meaning I got out of it, and it's true.
Yeah.
That's why.
That was funny.
That's why, and I don't want to insult. That's why I don't want to insult anybody. But when some guy says he's like the master of like some big council or something, and he's the main guy or whatever, they don't tell him no.
Yeah.
I don't. It may not be true, but they don't tell him no because they didn't want to interfere with his journey. He's got to find out for himself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand 100%. That's why I've taken more of a. I'm just taking it as it comes. I don't claim to be anything. What I've learned, I share with people. I want everybody to be on a journey just like I am. If you have a sighting, if you've been shown something, you're part of this journey. And if you haven't, and you've been doing it for a long time, you're not getting anything, then maybe change your approach. And that's what they told me was that, it's all about your approach. It's all about how you come into it. You can't break into this. There's no breaking into it. It's a loving, friendly approach. And once you get that approach, then all of a sudden the downloads and the light begins to come in. It's like, whoa, wow. And don't be afraid. It's like this one gave me the vision sitting right next to me and said, look, why are you so afraid of us? I mean, don't be afraid of us just because we look different. I used to compare it to this. You ever been to the mall and been people watching before?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about people watching. That's what they kind of do with us, and they're people watching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're all different, but at the same time,
You mean the human beings are like the people that are walking around Walmart? They're looking at us like
exactly.
like the crazy characters walking around Walmart.
So at the same time, we're looking at them one way, and they're looking at us another way. Those of us who have gone so far so fast. I talked to a man that was from the East Coast one time. He told me, Scott, he said, man, I never seen nobody like you to come this far this fast. But I said, yeah, here's the thing with my approach. I don't have to understand everything. I don't have to comprehend everything. I just got to accept it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes. For instance, they give me this right now. They said, if I come to you, right now, and I say, I want to bless you and I'll give you something, right? Do you have to demand me and belittle me because I'm trying to bless you with something? Well, why are you doing that? Why are you giving me this? No, you just accept it and say, hey, I receive it. That's the same. That's what they're telling me right now is that we need to be, number one, acceptance. Number two is be thankful, be honorable, be respectful. And when they give it to us, it's like, thank you. And just receive it. Go to the next thing. That's it.
Now, I think there's a fine line. Like you have to use discernment. You can't everything is, you can't go overboard. I mean, you have to use discernment for some things. Like not every structure, not every glyph, not everything I find is the Sasquatch made. That's what discernment is.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
maturity,
think,
right?
Yeah, but I think you have to. But you're right. If you, but you have to accept and not question and not be so analytical in your head, analyzing things from our old, archaic kind of way of thinking, like, this can't be real. You have to kind of feel it in your heart and accept it. And that's what you're talking about with acceptance. And when you do that, then that's when they show you more and more and more. So I think that's what you mean, isn't it?
So let me give you an example. This past time I went hunting, I was riding to the woods on my golf cart and they said, stop, take a picture. I'm like, why you want me to stop, take a picture? I mean, it's a tree break. Whatever. I've seen a bunch of tree breaks. I've seen a bunch of bowed trees and everything and say, go take a picture. So I did. So what it is there's significant things that they want to show us. But at the same time, if it's too weird, then the devil's going to come at you too, right? I'm not saying that everything is Sasquatch. I'm not saying everything is, because the devil will try to get you to do some stupid stuff too, to get you hurt and all that. But at the same time, if you're mature enough and you're in this and you understand who they are and what they are, then you're not going to have a lot of problems with it. But if you go in there being disrespectful, acting a fool and stuff like that, you're going to have issues. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I think this is important. So before you had your first experience, were they even on your radar? Did you think of them? Were you curious about them?
Well, if we go back to the very, very beginning, I was a little boy when I first saw something, and it was at my grandmother's house. And I'm probably about 8 or
I
9
was just
years.
going to say that this ain't, this isn't just like a 3-year deal. This is more like a 30-year deal, 40-year deal.
Yeah.
So let me go into detail and show y'all. And I went to stay with my grandmother on Thanksgiving holidays. I was probably 9 or 10, something like that. I can't remember. But I was a little boy. I was in grade school is what I was. And back then, they used to have what they call open range. Okay, that's where the cows would walk around through the woods and all that, and there's a lot of woods. And people would put cowbells and brand the cows and stuff, put tags on them and stuff like that, so they walked all over the place. So it was me and my grandmother went to bed that night. She had basically an old log cabin she lived in north central Louisiana, and old board and batten on top of the logs and all that. And anyway, she was laying in one bed and I was in the other bed, and she had the windows up, so it was cool. Mm-hmm. And she didn't have any air conditioner or anything like that. She just had a box fan. That's all she had. In the wintertime, she had a big fireplace is all she had for that whole house. So anyways, she went to sleep. She'd worked hard, did a bunch of clothes stuff that day, so she was worn out. I heard her snoring over there, and I went to bed. But I heard something walking outside. And so I woke her up. I said, Grandma, I said, something's walking outside. I hear it. And she said, no, boy, be quiet. Go back to sleep. That's just a cow. I said, but I don't hear cowbell. So understand, I heard something heavy enough walking outside, and it was heavy, and it was walking, and it was heavy. All of a sudden, this window is probably a 3, but I'm looking at my windows now, but they're probably a 3x3 window, okay? And this thing did this, walked in and looked, except its head was this big inside the window. See how close it is to the screen? It was big like that. Yeah. And I screamed and hollered and jumped from one bed into the other bed and jumped on top of my grandma until there was a monster, and there was a monster in the window. So anyways, my parents had come and got me and all that. I went back home. Well, not long after that, my mom had called up there because back then they had what they call party lines. Y'all remember party lines?
Yeah.
So you'd call and call and call. Sometimes you get through, sometimes you wouldn't, and a lot of people, they just, would stay on the line all the time. So finally my mom got through, and she never did she called my grandmother. She couldn't get through to her, but she got through to my aunt, which was my grandmother's sister-in-law. So she called up. She goes, where's Mom at? She said, well, she's staying with one of the cousins. She goes, why is she over there, not at her house? She said, I don't know. She said, well, give her a call over there. So she called her up, and my mom questioned her. She said, Mama, what's going on? She said, I don't want to talk about it. She said, well, did somebody hurt you? Did somebody come back there and hurt you? So, because she lived way back in the woods, y'all, way back in the woods by herself. She said, I don't want to talk about it. So I'm just dealing with something right now. I don't want to talk about it. And so my mom got with her with 3 brothers, and she said, look, we got to move Mama. So they ended up moving in an old house. She was out to another house, is off on the main highway and stuff like that. But my grandmother had experience, and I think she saw what I saw. Yeah. So anyways, it was a bad traumatic experience for her too. And so that's exactly what happened. Now let's fast forward. I was in 2009, I was working for an offshore company, and my cousin called me up and he said, man, you ain't hunt this year. You coming hunt? I said, yeah. He said, well, hunting season's almost over. I said, you gonna get a break around Christmas? I said, well, I think so. And he said, well, if you get a break, come on up, and we'll try to get you a deer. So I said, okay. So anyways, I went up there, and he said, go out there and get on a leaning tube. And he said, if you in that bottom and stuff like that, that creek it runs through, he said, go get on that bottom down there and leaning tube. And he said, we'll try to get you a deer. He said, if you don't, just text me on your phone, and I'm going to bring the dogs through, because we can run dogs through there, on private land and everything. So I said, okay. So anyways, sure enough, 9:30 rolled around, didn't see anything. So I texted him, told him I seen it. So I hear him coming through the woods, and he brought all his dogs with him. You can hear him, they barking and running and everything, acting crazy. So he starts doing a drive, what they call a drive. So he starts walking toward my way, and I could hear the dogs coming toward me. Okay, so they kept barking and carrying on. All of a sudden, I hear something get up and run toward me. But it was more to my left, so I got out of the leaning tube I was in and started walking up the trail where it was at. It was on a logging trail. So I got up there, and then it changed course, and it started going down from me on the right. I said, that's a big old buck, man. It's coming through. So I got my rifle ready, and I just got this 30-06 rifle right before that. And anyways, I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting for this deer to cross the logging trail right there. It never crossed. Well, the dog stopped barking, and they turned around and went back toward him and going across the other way. They just quit barking. Now, normally, if they're barking, they're on a trail. They're on a scent of a deer or something like that. These things stopped and went back toward him. So I started walking toward where I heard the noise at. And when I was walking down a logging trail, all of a sudden I get to this place in the briars and the thicket, and it's a hole like this. Well, inside that hole, I see this figure. It's got long, dark, black hair with brown highlights. So it's brown and black together. But the head was weird looking, y'all. It looked like a big head, but it had a snout on it. And the snout came out. And this thing was huge. It was squatted down. It was sitting there looking at it. And the eyes on this thing, I looked through my scope and I looked at it. The eyes to me looked black, all black. And it was spooky looking. It was scary looking. And I looked at that thing and I didn't flinch or nothing. I just turned and got out of there. So I walked back to my cousin. He said, "You didn't see that deer?" I said, "Deer never crossed." I didn't tell him what I saw. Never told anybody that. So when I told him, I said, "I seen."
That sounded like a jugway, one of those jugways.
Everybody I've talked to, I told the story to her. Everybody said the same thing. It had a baboon-looking face on it, y'all. Had a baboon-looking face, and they said it was probably a good way. They said, "Lucky I made out there. They didn't charge me or do something." But they said most of those things are very aggressive. But that's my experience with that. And then after that was didn't have anything really happen. Had some things that I couldn't quite understand. Just noises in the woods, stuff like that. And but after that was 2019. So from 2009, it was 10 years to 2019 when they finally come and started showing themselves to me.
Yeah, that's not unusual. A lot of people up in your
they read you. They can read you. When they were looking in your window as a child, they knew your future. And they knew, well, okay, he's got to raise a family, he's got to do this, he got to become a man, and then he's going to have this little window of time here in 2019, and it's, we got our opportunity. So it's divine timing for them. They do everything by timing.
Right. And when y'all talked about dreams, what's funny is I've had dreams about them coming to my house when I was a child. After my experience with my grandma's house, and in between 2009, I dreamed about them then. And that's really strange. And what's weird is I still remember the dream. How you explain that?
Because they're
not a dream. That was where they do. That's another paranormal thing. Dreams that are not a dream.
And it was actually like a group of them. It was like they were 4 or 5 of them, and they came to my house, and that's what I remember. Now, what's really strange is, this is going to blow y'all's mind. What's really strange is I started having dreams about different types of UFOs, what we would call UFOs.
Well, that's good. Well, the UFOs and Sasquatch are on the same team for the most part. There's some outliers on both sides, but they're on the same team doing the same kind of things, which is to uplift humanity, awaken us, and give us some downloads and get our energy right. Yeah.
Yep. So that's been a lot of stuff like that. And another time I was I'm getting this right now, so I'll tell you this story, which is pretty funny. So I was sitting in this one box stand, and it actually faces a bottom. There's a creek that runs down to the bottom, and then deer come up through that, And I remember I started seeing these flashes like this, just like that. I'm like, what in the heck? Am I seeing a ghost? I really thought it was a ghost, And I could hear stuff in the woods. I'm like, is that deer moving or whatever? What is that noise, And I could hear it. It was going like this. And it did it again. It did it like 4 times. I'm like, what in the world? And all of a sudden, y'all, at the corner of my eye, the right-hand side over here, I see there's a big, huge pine tree over there, okay? All of a sudden, I see this around the pine tree. And it does this. And I see that. And I turn real quick and I say, gotcha. But it was like it was looking around the edge of the pine tree. So that's another funny story that I had, I thought was pretty funny. But they were cloaking. Running in front of me that I could see the blur. That was it. I also, when I was, I didn't send y'all this picture, but I can send it to you later if you want. But I was taking pictures of my land, just taking the progress and stuff like that, and sent them to my wife and showing all the stuff that's going on and all that. One ran right in front of my camera and actually messed up the lens on it, messed it up and zapped it, actually what it did. And for a long time, I had to go bring it to the phone place and get it fixed. But the camera in the front, I could do a picture like this facing backwards, but I couldn't do the one toward the front. It was like that for a year. In fact, that happened last year. I just got it fixed. Funny, I just got it fixed right before I went to Barry's place up there.
I've got a question for you. How long has your family, been living in that area of the United States?
Oh, a long time.
So it's
1900,
like
1900.
several generations,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
several generations. In fact,
And
my
they were all hunters and
oh yeah,
businessmen and stuff. Yeah.
yes, all hunters, farmers. My great
So to me, there's
grandpa.
a really good chance that one of your relatives also had good encounters or good solid encounters, and they've been watching your family line for all that time. They
Yeah,
know your family, because I think that's just the way they do it. If your
yeah,
family's living within 10 miles of each other and been there for 100 years,
right.
yeah.
And what
So
do
my, back in the early 1900s, the federal government would give people tracts of land, and that's how my great grandfather got that land, and he was they actually give them to him for like farming and stuff like that. So he got that land, and that's how long our family's been around that. So
Yeah. So that would explain why they just were patient with you and wait until
yeah,
till just recently. But they knew of you, and they knew of your family and your grandmother and your great grandmother and all that kind of stuff. They know all that because that's kind of like the way they they're not in time the way we are. They say our time's not your time.
right. Have y'all got the picture? I got one of it. It shows a broken tree. You want to pull that one up? I can talk about that for a second. Shows a road, like a logging road and a broken tree.
Let me see if I can find that.
I sent that to you too, and it's a good conversation piece because it's right there in front of you, but you don't pick up on it. I've done a bunch of interviews, and I've asked everybody. I've only had 2 people so far pick up on what I was talking about. I want to see if y'all can pick up on it. It's pretty funny, but the evidence is right there in front of you.
Give me a second.
Sure.
I sent those to you. It should be on there. You're going to see an arrow.
150 comments.
Wow.
Everybody's like stoked. Yeah.
What about questions? Anybody got any questions? Should be maybe. Sometimes
I don't know about questions. I think there was a few back there. Let me see.
Yeah, I'll be glad to answer any questions people have too. If they want to ask me questions, I'm 100% open to questions.
Most of these guys are talking to each other.
Right. Sometimes in caps, they'll put them all in caps and they ask questions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Ghostly Hunter says, if the dreams are real and what we think of as reality is really the dream? That's a good one. A lot of people ask that question.
Yep. I've often wondered that. I often have wondered that about that because how come I keep remembering the dream? And it's very, very clear. I remember right now, and I was a kid when I had that dream. So if you're able to look at this picture, you see the arrow pointing toward the broken tree.
Yep.
That is a sapling. That is an oak tree, probably that's a pin oak, what they call a pin oak, makes acorns and stuff like that. But anyway, I guess that tree is probably around 5 inches in diameter. Maybe, probably about 5 inches, something like that. What else do you see in that picture, though, besides a broken tree? Now, they snapped that tree, okay? That wasn't wind or anything. They went over to it, and they took and they broke it and bent it over that trail. Now, that trail right there comes from another area, and they broke that off right there. But what else do y'all see in that picture?
Let's see if I can bring it up bigger.
All right, back up just a little bit if you can. Because what I'm going to show you is going to blow your mind. Back up just a little bit.
Yeah, hang on.
This is pretty cool.
Can you still see it?
So you got a bunch of other pictures up there now. Something different.
Yeah. See, because I got our chat.
Yeah.
Over right over top of the Zoom thing, so I'm having a hard time.
You're doing great. I mean, I think this is awesome. Oh, we got plenty of pictures to look at. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm just go ahead and cut to the chase. If you look at that picture right there, and they showed me this, look at the footprints. You can stop right there. Look at the footprints right there. You got to back up to see the footprints. So each side of the road, there are footprints. You know, they don't walk side to side. They walk.
No. Oh, yeah.
So I was looking at this picture one time, and they said, look, they're the prints. The daddy's prints are on the left-hand side. The mama's prints are on the right-hand side. Then the baby's in the middle right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So they showed me that. I was blown away that they even, like, I was looking at this picture, I'm like, wow, really? I never thought about that. But look at mama's footprint. She's got in the first one, right? It's kind of twisted a little bit, you know?
So pull up it off. Looks like maybe the daddy did.
Yeah, he did. He walked over. He went up in the woods. That's what they told me. He went up in the woods and he snapped it to keep some people from coming through. I guess people come through with trucks and stuff like that. They don't want them to come through.
We got a question. We got a question when you're ready.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you while we're on this subject, though. Let me ask you before the question. What are they telling you is the purpose of them snapping these? Because we see these all the time. So what is the
well, like I said, the purpose of this one right here was to keep a vehicle from coming down that road. You know, they didn't want a vehicle coming down that road for whatever reason. Or somebody had been coming back there. I don't know what they were doing, but maybe to come back there shooting guns or something, you know, and they didn't want them to shoot in that area on that road right there. So that they just don't, they broke it in to keep vehicles from coming down there.
Okay, what's your question, Beans?
This is for Deborah Klein. She wants to know where the pictures are from, and they're North Louisiana. But there's another question.
Louisiana, it's, if y'all look, it's right above Alexandria. So Alexandria being the central part of Louisiana is right above Alexandria, 20 minutes away.
David from Texas says, Mr. Pace, do any of your children or family members have the same connection with the cryptids like yourself? That's a question.
As far as I know, no, they don't. Nobody does. Only me. My family, I've opened up to my family and told everybody about it. Some people are accepting me about it. Some of them talk about it, and ain't no big deal. You know, I don't care. I know what I am, what I deal with. Right there. Stop right there. Can y'all see those two faces that are circled right there?
I'm not.
Can you?
You know when you said that, you know, if they're for you, you can see them and other people can't. Right. Like I've got some pictures that to me are so obvious. I can't even believe that people can't see them, but sometimes they can't. And actually, no, I don't really see anything there. But I'm not saying.
If you look at this, so let me tell you a story behind this one. I'd got books from different people right after my sighting. I started reading, you know, stuff, and then I'd let them kind of tell me what books to read too. And so, anyways, I got this one book, and it was a couple books from Dr. Matthew Johnson. So I read all of his books and everything. And one of the things he said is he called them the Janu. So I said, okay, I'm going to put this to the test. So this is in 2020, hunting season of 2020, which is after 2019. I go into that same stand. By this time, they had clear cut the land, and you can tell it's clear cut because there's nothing out there. Now it's not thick like it was before. So I said, if you are the Janu, would you please give me a sign? All of a sudden, all these silhouetted faces began to come up. The one along the left-hand side is just a face. If you could look out, there's two eyes. Where's your pointer at? If you put your pointer up there, I'll show you. Okay, take your pointer and come across to the face. Okay, I barely see a pointer. I don't know why, but anyways, golly. Okay, there it is right there. Stop right there. That is the nose right there. If you go down a little bit, that's the nose. And on each side of your pointer, I can barely see your pointer. Go back up. Right there is the center of the face where your pointer is. On each side of that is two eyes. And it's almost like he has like a little, like a 5 o'clock shadow beard right there. But what you're looking at is a face right there on the left-hand side.
Interesting.
And that's what they showed me. So I'm like, wow, I was blown away. This goes to show you what they're capable of doing, you know?
Yeah. Can I want to do a little experiment. Okay.
Sure.
Can I show you a couple of my pictures of them and see if you can see them? Because To me, they're as obvious as the nose on my face. I'm just interested to see what you see. Can I do that?
Sure, most 100%. Yeah. Only thing is that I'm on my iPhone, so I'll do my best to look at them and show you and see what I can see.
Keep going, Mr. Beans, while I find these pictures. And I'm just interested because, like, I do think there is something to what you. Well, I know there's something to what you said, that if they're for you, you're going to see them easier than anybody else.
Yeah. The thing of it is that in the community, we need to teach people how to look for these things. I mean, I could do my best to teach y'all and show you, and somebody had to teach me, right? So, I mean, there are people who are way better at looking at this stuff than I am. I mean, I'm pretty decent at it. I'm proficient at it now, but I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I still have a lot to learn.
The other thing is, have you ever come across where you've taken a picture and they or you've taken a picture on your camera and suddenly it's removed, or they add a picture onto your camera, or they add an image onto your picture after the fact? I've experienced all three of those. Have you ever experienced that?
I haven't had that happen to me yet. No, I haven't. That part I haven't happened. Now I've had it where they blurred the picture more, which was crazy.
Yeah, okay, I've had that too. But no, I've actually had it where my wife and I took 5 pictures of something I guess they didn't want seen. It was a picture of a raven feather gift that we got. Okay. And they removed it from all 5 pictures from 2 different cameras. Another time they've taken pictures with my camera and it looks like interdimensional. Other time we've had pictures, and then after the fact there's something added to it. Like after the picture's been taken, they've added like a glyph, or they've shown up in the picture. So that's kind of out there too, right?
Very much. I mean, I'm one of the things I'm doing right now is researching glyphs. It's a language. Obviously, it's a language, but it's an old language, and that's one of the things I'm trying to learn now, is to learn about glyphs. I'm
probably the glyph guy, actually, to tell you the truth. I've got so many glyphs. You have to get a hold of me maybe after the show. Do you want to see a couple of my glyphs too?
And let me ask you this: can you read them? Do you know what they say?
Some of them, yes, I can. Sometimes it's like directly. The message is given to me immediately.
So one of them for you is a triangle like this. What does a triangle mean? Like a triangle, just like that.
Well, that's the thing, Scott. I couldn't tell you what it means. I know what it means for me,
right?
But it doesn't mean the same for you, because they're connecting with you on a personal level. So if you start thinking this is what this means, or they'll give you the thought this is what this means. Yeah. All of a sudden, you're going to find out that they start communicating with you according to that meaning, and there'll be no doubts because of the circumstances when it shows up and that kind of stuff. And you'll also find, if you get into it deep enough, that they will have already been communicating with you according to that meaning years before you even formulated the meaning. And that's a fact, man. There's no question about it.
Wasn't sure. That's why I was going to ask you what your interpretation was. But one of the things I got was, okay, if we look at this, what does that mean to you? Like a triangle.
What does it mean to me?
Yeah, I'm being serious. What does that mean to you?
An open triangle is my guy, Little Bud. That's his signature. That's what an open triangle is. Okay. An A is my clan leader's signature. An X is friendship welcome. A Y stick is man Sasquatch connected. And there's a bunch more, but those are my meanings.
So the one they showed me is a big one. I mean, this thing is big. It really is. And it's a good size one. But they told me it was like the representative of our roof at our house, like home.
There you go.
Yeah. Sometimes
let me crank out a couple of questions here, and I just wanted to let you know that we're up to 200 comments now, which I think is a record for this point in the show. Again, David from Texas says, Scott, do you believe there's a veil thinning? Or is there just more people waking up?
I believe it's both.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I believe too.
I 100%.
That's a good answer.
So look at me. I'm 2019, right? Coming into this. You guys have been doing this way longer than I have. But it's like I think I'm coming along really, really fast.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people have told me, they said, Scotty, you're one of the fastest people we've ever seen come up this fast. And it said, and I don't buy into the wood knocks and all that kind of stuff. They do mean something, okay? They do mean something. But the thing of it is if you want to go communicate with them, talk to them, you don't go up there beating on the trees and trying to talk to them and stuff like that. That's not your approach. The veil, yes, there's 100% veil, and I believe that 100% because even the Bible talks about a veil, that there's a veil there. And I believe it's thinning big time right now. And I think more and more people are going to be exposed. Now, how they react to it. When I first happened to me, when I first had all this happening, I thought I was going to go to counseling. I ain't gonna lie to you. I really thought that I was going to go mentally serious stuff because I'm like, I am going nuts. I'm going to be in a cuckoo house. Okay. They're going to put me away, start giving me injections and all that. Right. But right after that, they started coming and talk to me. They started communicating with me and stuff. And it made me, they pretty much just made me at ease. Look, we're going to talk to you. We're going to help you out. And so I'm like, okay. In other words, they gave me a spirit of calmness. And after that, it was like, okay, now I'm just accepting.
Yeah.
So if you got some more questions,
acceptance is a big deal, and just recognizing that it's not evil or bad, and then just accepting whatever comes along. That's what I do. I don't ask them questions. I don't beg for experiences, and they just come and give me experiences from time to time, and it adds up over the years. I had a lot of experiences, and without, just like they know what to do. It's pretty much automatic, and all I got to do is just appreciate it.
Yeah,
that's been my past experiences. I just follow their lead, and they come and ask me, do you have any questions? What do you want to learn? I'll ask them all kind of stuff, and sometimes they say, well, sometimes they just say, nah, you don't want to do that. Like the levitating thing. I want to learn how to levitate, you're not ready for that. Just think about it like this. If I could levitate like Superman, I wouldn't have to buy gas and stuff in my car. I'd just fly to work. That's my thinking, y'all. I mean, that crazy. It's funny though, right? You want to go somewhere. They
taught me how to go invisible, and I got some of it. I got it to work, but let me tell you, it takes a young person learning how to do that. It's a lot of energy.
A lot of energy.
You have to change your energy and your breathing and
everything.
It's to the point of being scary.
Yes. Well, that's what they kind of explained to me. Is it's totally different. And you got to change a lot of stuff in order to do it. I thought that was pretty funny though.
But honestly, Scott, and maybe they'll tell you this too. As far as the glyphs go, it really is a personal thing, and I'm 110% sure that they already know the meaning of what I'm going to come up with before I do, because I've looked back on my pictures that I took years before, and I said, yeah, I was wondering what that was. They already knew, and it's just so obvious, right?
Yes.
So you want to see a couple and see what you can see?
Sure. Yeah, please.
But you've only got your phone, right?
Yeah, I do my best to look at them though, man.
Okay.
I'd love to see them, please. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, I'm always saying that they can shift their their molecular structure, or however they do, they with intention or whatever, they can shift their into anything or whatever. Can you see my clan leader's face on this rock?
Yep, it's pointing toward the sky, the right-hand side.
Here's his forehead. Here's his two eyes. Here's his nose. Yep. Look at his nostrils. Here's his mouth. Here's his chin. That's my guy RE.
So he's looking up at the sky toward. Let's say if we're looking at it, he's looking up at the right-hand corner.
Yeah, I had my first sighting of him right in the bushes off here, and I mean some amazing, just some
Okay, from what I can tell, so let's look at some more stuff in that picture. I mean, I can barely see it, but let me see. Hold on, I'm trying to.
You've had it on a laptop.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different story about that. My laptop is broke right now, but it'll come around. But anyways, if you look to the bottom, to the left of that, there's another face right there. So there's another face in the lighter stuff right there.
Down in here.
Where's your pointer? Let me see. Yes. Go down to where his face is. Go down and go left. Go left a little bit more. Go right up. And there's another face right there, and the light stuff. Yep. Looks almost like a Herman Munster to me. It really does. I mean, you look at it, I can see it clearly.
I guess I'm dumb or whatever because they have to be right in my face. But look, but this guy is just so freaking obvious. But he put his image into that rock. They didn't carve it in there. He just changed the rock to look like him. Just with their shape shifting and their putting their molecular, changing their, how do you say that, molecules or whatever? I don't know how you would say that. Just by focusing on, I'm saying it all wrong.
Let me I want to share another story when they kind of brought this to my attention.
I wrote a book about and talked about some of this stuff, and I can't think, and I'm just tongue tied right now. But they just basically put their intent to show that image in this rock, and then it just appeared,
just to stick out like that. So I got something to go along with that. So, anyways, when I was up there with Barry, we were riding around and stuff like that. He was showing me different stuff and different places and all that. And I said, Barry, what is the craziest story out of everything? The top number one. He said, Scotty said, my nephew had gotten in trouble with the law, so he was running from the law, and he said he was running, basically through some tall grass and stuff like that. And he said he finally ran until he just couldn't go no more. He just actually passed out and collapsed. So he said when he came to, he kind of felt the ground beneath him kind of moving a little bit, kind of, and he could hear something. So he stood up. When he did, he said he's seen one coming out of the ground.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's your picture right there that's showing his face coming out of the ground, and he's in there. Now, while I was up there, I was fixing to leave. It was my last couple of hours there. There were all these what I call potholes around the campground. I said, this is crazy, man. So I started taking pictures of all those potholes. And then when I got home, they showed me the footprints all around those potholes, what I call potholes. I said, this is a weird thing. I said, why are there so many holes around this campground, where you'd be walking out,
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that. And that's kind of hard to understand. But I had another guy tell me that story too. And he said, he said he actually had pictures of them coming out of the ground. I'm like, you mean just coming out of the dirt? He said, yes.
I believe that.
I'm like, what? See, here you go. It's another thing we learn, Yeah.
Here's one of my glyphs. I can read this one.
Yes.
See how creative it is too? They got a little piece of moss there. They got a fern fawn. It's on
that's all.
This is like my RE clan signature. There's an X there, friendship welcome. It's just a personal message for me. I burst into tears when I seen this.
So to me, what I'm getting out of this is fish.
Well, there is a fish kind of glyph there too. That's the sign of my wife and I. That's our connection sign.
Wow.
But usually it touches. So I'm a little hesitant to say that, but it does kind of look like it's talking about our connection with the clan. If it is the fish, I'll show you. There is a fish glyph I'm going to show you actually.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that's what I just kind of got that right then. It was fish, and you have a line going through it.
Well, I know the fish is associated with Jesus too, but the fish glyph for Susan and I is about our connection, and quite often they'll leave it in a personal message. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so here's RE. Can you see him right here?
In the center.
There's his eyes. There's his body. He's cloaked, but
yes.
You see him?
I see a dark mass there. I do see it there.
Here's this big patty type of nose. Here's his two eyes. Here's his head. Here's his shoulder. Big massive body. I asked him to come and visit me, and I was in tears because of the energy that they were giving me. I said, come and visit me. And then I took some pictures, and I saw him in the picture after the fact. But you can see him clearly, right? Oh,
yeah. The thing of it is that when they come and visit you, because they have so much love and so much light, a lot of time it's overwhelming. And I'm not scared to even say this. I've got emotion before I cry.
Oh yeah.
And I'm as a man, I'm not ashamed to say that.
Oh no. I've been driving in to see them, or even at home, and all of a sudden they hit me up with this love greeting.
Yep.
And exactly. I'm just like,
isn't that like
rolling down my cheeks? I'm just overcome with tears and emotion, right? It's so loving and beautiful.
Well,
so here's RE's signature, the A. This is my clan leader signature. He's got the X in there. So it's friendship welcome Friendship Welcome is the X from the clan of RE the A. And check over here. They've got a little version of it woven in.
Wow, that's amazing. That
Yeah,
is
and then that day, my friend and I, just after we seen this, right after we saw it, we looked to our left, and we were both drawn to look to our left at the same time. They gave us that energy nudge to look at the same time, and there was RE standing in the bush. And like you said, he moved like a phantom, like
Yep.
no head
Exactly.
bob, or it looked like he was on like a not an escalator, the flat one, whatever that is.
Yep.
The thing, so I can read a lot of these, and this is a nice one, and you can also see it's 3D, right?
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really.
I mean, check out the detail on this. Like this whole big main one is the same thing. It's replicated here.
So let me ask you a question. I can barely see at the bottom. Is that part of? Is like a small rock in there too?
Right here.
I can't really tell. I mean, it looks like a rock at the bottom down there, one of the sticks.
It just looks like a piece of bark or something. I'm not sure if it's just laying there and it's not, but
sometimes I wonder if all that means something. Every little detail means
sometimes
something.
the little details do mean a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the branches. You got one. You got two. Then there's a branch coming off of it. And I wonder if that means like children and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, here's one. And this is what I'm talking about when I say that they know the meaning I'm going to come up with before I even formulate the thought. This one is my fish glyph with Susan. So I found hundreds of these. This represents our connection. This main fish thing. So, and this was left by the female because she likes to be decorative and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I can tell that by her and whatever. But anyway, when I first saw this, I didn't know what this meant. This thing curving into here. 5 years later, I came up with the meaning man Sasquatch connected. And after I came up with it, the next day they left me a dramatic message about it, and they kept leaving me messages and still do to this day in relation to what I'm thinking, all the circumstances, everything lines up perfectly. And so I'm looking back to make a video for my YouTube channel about the fish glyph and my wife and I our relationship. And I look at this and I see this here and I said, oh my God, there it is. There's the man Sasquatch connected sign 5 years before I formulated the idea. So Scott, what this means is Susan and I are connected, my wife and I. Man and Sasquatch are connected, and we are connected to you.
Wow.
Do you see that?
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
Isn't that obvious?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's incredible. I'm blown away.
Yeah, that's the kind of, that's amazing. Oh, here's a picture that they why can't I get that smaller? Anyway, that's a picture that they just put on my camera.
You see, I see
my wife here. We didn't take this picture. It just showed up on my camera. It was placed on my camera.
Do you see the face behind there?
Yeah.
I see a face, a big face right there between her and looks like an opening or a tree right there. But there's a huge face right there and a smile.
Yeah. This is interdimensional. This picture.
So I see the eyes next to her eyes, right where her neck is. I see a smile there and it's a face. I see it clearly. 100%.
Yeah. Well, this is what, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. So they put this picture on my camera. They've taken pictures off. As a matter of fact, there was one thing, there were 3 or 4 different things going on at the same time with 3 different people. They brought us all together. And I'm talking about how they take pictures off of cameras and stuff. I'm explaining it to this guy. Just a coincidence, right? No. So as I'm explaining it, I told my friend who went out hiking with me that day, because we had some great experiences, hey, show him that picture of the stick with the mushrooms on it, because it was part of the story. And I won't go into the details of why it was, but it was an integral part of the story. And so the guy starts looking for that picture. And guess what? Every other picture he took, like of about 50, was on there, except that one picture, as I'm explaining how they take pictures off cameras. That one was removed. Then later in the day, they put a psychedelic picture right in its place. It was like all distorted and interdimensional, right in the place where that picture was taken off of. So, I mean, and they brought 3 people together for this story. It's just incredible. Oh, okay, here's RE again. See him better there?
Oh yeah.
Head, nose.
Yep.
Oh, I'm glad you can see him. Yeah.
Well, like I said, the first thing I look
Oh.
for is
Oh,
I
here's
look for
another guy.
eyes or AI. I look for an eye, and then after that, I start.
Here's his entire outline. This guy was throwing rocks on the trail in front of me just for a greeting. You see his head, shoulders,
Yep.
arms, full torso. Once
Yep.
again, partially cloaked. Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and here's my buddy Little Bud.
Yep, in between the sticks
I
right
was
there.
taking a selfie, and you see his whole head here, his whole body,
Yep.
torso, shoulders. He's just looking at me.
There's another one to the left of that. Go to the left of it, you're gonna see a white face one. So you're gonna see right above. If you go more to the left of where he is, go up and go left. There's another face right there. Clear.
Here?
It's hard for me to see your pointer. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
see,
if
I don't see that, but that's
yeah, it's a lighter face one. You got a dark one there, and then they got a lighter face one. I see
Yeah.
two eyes and mouth and a nose right there.
Yeah.
But if you can kind of see, there's like two sticks that go all the way across the picture right there between the white thing and this pink or red, whatever that is right there.
Yeah.
Right above that, you're gonna see something that's going up and down, up and down. Okay. In between, count two sticks over, and then two sticks over from the left, and right in between there's another face right there.
okay. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to send you some of these things, and we should be discussing the glyphs and some. I mean, we have so many experiences that we could
Yep.
trade.
I could circle them for you too. You know what I'll do is I'll take your picture and then circle it for you and then send it back to you. I think that's pretty cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's just a few. I've literally got probably 20,000 pictures of like glyphs and stuff. Like it was a big teaching tool between me and them, and it's still a way of communicating.
Yep.
Actually, it was funny because when we had our channel the other day, the little guy, Little Bud, my friend, he called me friend too because he just wanted to horse around. The other two were really deep, the older one.
Yes.
But he said he wants me to leave more glyphs again because I would leave glyphs for him. Then he would leave me a message, and I'd leave him a message, and then he'd leave me a message. We'd go back and forth. So it's. Have you ever tried doing that?
I'm just now getting. They left me a stick the other day. First time they ever done that.
Well, let me see what you feel with this when I suggest this to you, and see what your guys think of this. I'll make a suggestion. They might like it. Leave them a glyph. Obviously, you know what a glyph is.
Yes.
We looked at some, and you said you were learning about glyphs, so obviously know what they are. But just leave a glyph, and maybe peel sticks or something because they show up nice. But just make your signature, your own signature, and it doesn't matter what it is. It's just what your intention is. Okay.
Right.
Whatever your intention is, and say, "This is me, guys. This is me." And just leave it for them, and then see what they do. See if they start switching it around and playing with it, communicating with you.
They already gave me something to do. As soon as you said that, they gave me something to do.
So they agree.
Oh yeah. So mine would be.
Mary Jean Sutton asked, "Does Scott have any more pictures to show us? Have we gone through all of your pictures so far?"
Everything he gave me.
Yeah, I don't know if I can send them to you. I'm afraid I'm gonna lose y'all the connection and stuff.
Well, we'll have you on again, Scott.
We'll call that next time next time you get some more pictures.
I got a picture of a footprint right outside my house. Oh, that's funny. I should have sent that one to you too. It's not a big footprint either. It's about, but it's wide. It's like this, And I'm like, wow. And it was, y'all remember when they had that really cold weather last year? I think it was last year. They came through Texas and busted all the water lines and all that. Y'all remember that?
I sure don't, because I'm in British Columbia. So no, I don't.
So we had British Columbia sent us some really cold weather, okay? And it reached all the way to Texas and Louisiana. It came over. And Texas got the worst part of it. It was a polar plunge is what it was, and it came straight down. But it got Texas worse than it got us. By the time it got to us, it was still cold, but it was like 30 degrees, right? And the next day, my wife went out there and she said, there's a footprint out there by the garbage can. I said, do what? She said, yeah, go look at it. So I went and took my phone out there and I took a picture of it. It's a perfect small footprint. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. In that cold mud, I'm thinking to myself, how in the world can they do that in this cold, bitter cold weather? I would never run outside with that kind of, walking that kind of stuff in 30-degree weather out there.
Ghostly Hunter asked, he said in all in caps, he said, do you guys find any Indian trail marker trees or mounds in the areas where you have had your experiences? Do you know what an Indian trail marker tree is?
I'm not 100% what that is, but
it's where a tree gets broken over by the Indians, usually twice, so it looks like a chair, like you could sit on it, but it marks an area. The Indians do that.
Oh, I've seen stuff like that on the ground.
It's broken, but it's like a 90-degree bend and another 90 degrees, but usually it's done a long time ago, and so the tree keeps on growing.
Right. I got you. I have seen those before. I'm trying to remember if they have any in my area. I've had a lot of weird broken trees, and sometimes I think that they're actually like a playground where the young ones go there and play, and the mom and dad, or they'll break the tree so they can go play and stuff. What's the other thing? I was just going to tell y'all something else. I'm trying to remember what it was. Something about the supernatural side. When we were up there with Barry and we seen something that he couldn't explain and I couldn't explain. I definitely couldn't explain what happened. But anyways, we were sitting inside the truck and it was 4 of us in the truck. And all of a sudden there was this magenta looking light that come up. Have y'all ever seen anything like that? A magenta look, it's like a light purple looking light.
No, I haven't.
And then I seen something else that was, it's kind of hard to explain. But the only thing is that I go back to the thing of the water and oil. And if you were to take oil and put on top of water, it makes a sheen. This thing was like a figure walking. It looked like a sheen.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I know what. You know what I call that? I've seen them walking around me like that. That's like the predator mode, I call it. It looks like they're transparent, but there's shimmery water kind of in the middle. Yeah, I have seen that.
If you look at your picture that's behind you that I'm seeing right now, that's what it looked like, was something like that. But it was more of an oil sheen on top of water look. Now that was the highlight and the end of our thing that we had over there, and I was blown away. And that was in an area they call Hard Knocks.
Yeah. Well, what I saw was more transparent.
Yes.
It was more transparent, but but you could see a figure and the insides, so to speak, like, in here kind of thing.
Yes.
It was like a shimmery, watery type of appearance. And they were all, and I was camping out way in the mountains, and they were all walking around me and looking like that.
Yep. And what we seen was, I seen that thing and it was moving like this, and it was like, wow, what is that? I was actually wondering if it was like a light beam or something like that, because this is what happened was Barry said, he said, we must have aliens around us. He never said anything that whole trip, but he said that we must have aliens around us right now. And I was like, what? Okay, it's getting deep now.
Well, if it's something like what I saw, I think it's just one of the ways that they can appear. Because what I saw was Sasquatch, I'm pretty sure. But they were just one of their, like, they could be in orb form, they can be in that form, they can be in shadow person form, they can be partially cloaked, they can be fully materialized. You can see.
And it could be an alien too.
Well, it could be. It could be.
I don't know, y'all.
Aliens can do everything that Sasquatch can do, and Sasquatch can do everything the aliens can do. So going translucent,
I'm not saying it wasn't, but it is something that I have witnessed Sasquatch do too. As a matter of fact, I've had 2 or 3 people tell me that have even been on the show where they've seen Sasquatch walk by. One of them was Robin Haynes McCrae, walked by with the lower part of the body from like the waist down was absolutely 100% materialized, and there was no upper body at all. Another one was like you could just see the top of the head,
yes,
with hair and whatever, and then nothing. So
yes,
they can be in so many different forms. I've seen orbs form into omnipotent beings and whatever and stuff. that I associated with Sasquatch, but not necessarily. It could have been something else, but it was in the Sasquatch area, and I was connecting with Sasquatch at the time. So I think,
So talking about orbs, have y'all? I know we've got blue orbs in our house now, okay, and they're here. But we went to the coast with some friends to go fishing and stuff, and this is pretty strange. We seen orange orbs right at sunrise. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
Orange orbs?
Yes.
No.
Right at sunrise, the sun was coming up, and it's like these things were floating all over the place. And it was right on the coast of Louisiana. I thought that was the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. But they were orange orbs, orange yellowish looking orbs.
You can see them with your eye, or just capture them in the camera?
I got them with we seen them, and I started filming them. Then I took a video. I took a video of it, and I said, "Look at that! There's orbs right there." But the sun was coming up. We were out there right as the sun was coming up, and then the sun was coming up really pretty above the horizon. And all of a sudden I started seeing these orbs. I said, "Oh my God, I got to film this." So I started filming, started doing the whole thing, so how many I could catch. And they started tracking me then. When I started tracking them, they were tracking me and they were staying with me. They were doing this. I thought that was really, really cool.
So give us the weirdest thing.
James says he's seen orange orbs several times.
Awesome.
Give us a weird thing that you won't tell, that you won't say on too many other shows.
That's a good one. Let me think about it for a second. And
because you can say, you can share it here.
Well, okay. While you're thinking about that, let me ask you a question. Somebody came in a little bit later about UFOs, so that they didn't see your little talk about UFOs. So,
yeah.
Do you have any other connection, dreams, or experiences of the UFOs other than that one time?
Well, all right. Here's the weird one. Y'all want a weird story? This is the weirdest story I'm going to give y'all, and I think this is a top one. I started communicating with them one time, and I said, I want to fly a UFO. I want to fly a spaceship. So I had gone to sleep and everything, and then only way I can explain to y'all is an out-of-body experience. But they came to my house, they took me, and I may have been in physical form. I don't know. I can't explain this. All I know is I went with them, and there was two of them. Very friendly, very polite, and we went.
You're talking Sasquatch?
Yes, 100% Sasquatch. So I went with them, and we went to an area that I don't know what it is or where it is, but I just know I went there with them. Okay. And when I got there, this craft, the only way I can explain it to you is it looked like a rectangle, and the back of it came down. And we walked up to it. The back of it came down. I walked up inside, and there were some other beings in there. Is all I can say, like a grays and stuff like that. But there were some other beings, and they looked at me when I walked in, and they kept on doing what they were doing. It was like, okay, see you, blah blah, whatever. He's just a human being. So I walk up, and I go to the front of this craft, and when I walk up there, I look. There's like a seat there. Okay. The next part's where it gets really weird. I go and sit down in this thing, and I said, well, there's no controls here. How do you fly it? They said, just sit down. So I sat down. They said, put your hands down. So I put my hands down flat with my elbows flat and my hands down. And they said, just think it. Now, at this time, the seat came into my body. It's like a big seat, and it came into my body. And I saw, all of a sudden I went forward to what you would consider a console or a dash. And everything's fluid looking, okay? It's not like what you see, like they show on movies and stuff. It's nothing like that whatsoever. So I sit there and I'm looking at it, okay? And they said, just think it. I said, do what? They said, you fly it with your mind, just think it. So I said, okay. So I said, go forward. They said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And I said, why? They said, what if you got something in front of you, like a tree or something? They said, tell it what you want it to do. Always go up first. I said, oh, okay. So I put my hands down and I said, go up. So I was just thinking that, go up. So I went, and I said, now gradually go forward. So I did this. I went forward with it. And they let me fly around, the area where I was at and everything. And it was kind of wooded and all that. So then I came back and I set it back down. And I remember asking this question. I said, why didn't y'all let me fly like a fancy one or something like that? They said, this is more like what you would consider a van, which I thought was hilarious. They said, no, in other words, we're not going to let you wreck something we got. This is more like a utility vehicle, I guess, what you would call.
Just for your reassurance,
Yes, sir.
That's about the eighth time I've heard a story almost identical to that. I know
Really?
I have good friends who've flown. There's some people. That's one of the things that the ETs have been doing. After the abductions or after they get to know you, they say, "Well, you want to fly the craft?" And they say, "Oh yeah, I got to sit in a chair and put my hands on the table, or put my hands on the armrest,
Yeah.
and then you think, all right." Some
Yeah.
people have gone off and seen other galaxies, and
Wow. I
then,
haven't.
then come
Yeah,
back the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know.
that's. I'd love to do that.
No, you're in good company.
Hey, just for
There's a guy named Preston Dennett, and
Yep.
he has a whole show on all the people who've flown craft. And there's a lot of them. So
Wow. Well, I've actually flown one, y'all. And what was neat is another time I had flown, and I remember when I was younger, but I was a young man then having this dream, and I thought it was a dream. But this thing was more, I guess, more like a starfighter, what you call was like that. Is all that I can explain. And I remember flying and going through above some buildings. Now these buildings, they kind of look like something in the Middle East. They were more square looking like that, and kind of desert scene. And I remember flying, going through that. But it was, people were saying, I remember this person sitting next to me, they were saying, be careful, you're going to hit some stuff over here. And I said, no, we're just going to go right around it. And I remember just doing a maneuver like this and going on. But that's not the first time I did it. But I remember asking them specifically, I want to fly one, and that's what happened.
so to get the story straight, you were asking your Sasquatch friends if
Yes.
you could fly the craft, and they
Yes.
took you to someplace in the woods, and sort of like in a dream type.
Yep. When I,
Sometimes they call it a matrix reality, so it just feels like a
Yeah.
constructed reality.
Yeah.
But that's
And-
actually the reality that the craft and the people are in. So I've
Oh.
been in that reality before, and it's real. That's
I mean, I really did fly one, y'all. So I feel pretty blessed with that. It's pretty cool.
And part of the channel I did with my clan leaders portion of that, just 3 of them came in. Well, 4, but 3 mainly came in. And one of the questions I asked is, do you go on spacecraft and do you have spacecraft? And he said yes. So that kind of
Right.
verifies what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sasquatch flying
Another-
spacecraft. Yeah.
This is kind of off. It's kind of dealing with cryptids, but an off thing. Something happened when I was younger, and I had pretty much rededicated my life to Christ and stuff like that. It happened in 1997, and after that, it was a few years later, around 2000. I had an experience that I still don't quite comprehend, but it happened. But I experienced a Egyptian dog-headed man. And I started looking into the cynocephaly. Is that how you say that? Is the name of it. And what happened was this thing came from the south. It came into my house. And at the time I was single. And it walked right into my bedroom and actually took its hand and put on my face and told me to stay down. And I still don't understand that, but it told me, stay down, stay down, stay down. But its whole body was like an Egyptian, but its head was like that of a dog. And that was pretty wild. And I remember calling out. All I could do was say the name Jesus. That's all I said was Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It's like Jesus came in, like I felt the presence of like a bright light come in, and all of a sudden that thing left, and it went toward the east.
that's a pretty cool story, actually.
Did you think you thought it was malevolent, the Egyptian guy?
Oh no, he wasn't nice. He was a bad dude. He was straight up a badass. No, he was come tell me whatever in my future, like right now, all this stuff is happening to me. He told me to stay down, stay down. So
Yeah,
you see,
How old were you when that happened?
I was younger, probably 20 years ago. That happened to me.
Okay, so that goes back to what we were talking about. Is that wasn't your time? You had stuff you had to do,
Right.
and if you had got off on this crazy train back then,
Yep.
you'd be.
That's the craziest that ever happened to me, so far. I mean, all this other stuff is pretty wild, but that right there,
that
to
guy,
see it and
that-
I mean,
the dog-headed
Egyptian guy.
right?
yes,
That's one of the oldest gods in Egypt, and it
Yeah.
was a god. Anubis was a god for something like 25,000 years,
Mhm.
and then that's before Osiris and all those other things, all these other gods that they had in there, Set and all this, right? But he was the god of the underworld, but it's and he was to balance your heart. So if you die and you go to this place, if your heart is heavier than a feather, then you don't get to go to heaven. That's the
Right.
basic idea of it. But what it means is you can't carry any guilt or shame or fear into that space.
You remember when I had that? Remember when I had that O vision when I went to the different dimensions and the gatekeepers and and the light beings and the reptilians were doing battle over the.
I remember. The O was like a badass, right?
Well, he was a good guy,
But
but
he
he
was
was
badass.
powerful. But my point is it was a. I don't want to get into the story. That's not my point. The point is relevant to what you said, Scott. But anyway, basically, it was a battle between good and evil, and consciousness coming through to waken us up, whatever. And there was a battle line between light beings, like look just like these guys, and reptilian kind of guys. But anyway, the gatekeeper of that dimension, I was talking to him for a while. He asked me what I wanted, and I said I want knowledge or truth or something, and he opened the door, let me in, and I experienced this. But that guy looked like that guy, the Egyptian guy with the dog head, was it, or whatever?
Yeah.
He was 7 feet tall, and he had that
Yeah.
Egyptian kind of plated kind of skirt kind of thing, and he looked identical to that. And
And this guy here had the bracelets on. He had
Yeah.
the breastplate on, had the skirt on, had the sandals on. He had everything except he had a dog's head. I mean,
well, that's
it
what
was
this guy had. That's the guy I seen had too, and he was tall. This guy was like 7 feet tall or something.
They call them the guardians of the underworld, and that's pretty powerful to keep you from going,
Yeah.
to keep you from going into the underworld.
So my thing here is this: who am I? This guy has to come tell me to stay down. Who am I? I don't know who I am.
Well, I think you're finding out.
I think it's pretty cool, but I mean, my thing is, okay, am I really
Anubis.
that powerful that I don't even know who I am? That this god or this demigod needs to come tell me to stay down? I mean, who am I?
Well, what do you? Yeah, but was it just because you were scared? Are you sure that he was there for ill intentions, or was he trying to do something and you just weren't ready for it and you freaked out? Was he really malevolent, or could he have been trying to do something with you?
Well, I was sleeping. He came down and put his hand on my face just like this, and his hand covered my whole head. He was a big dude, and he held my face down and pushed it. And I know it was real because when I woke up, my head was hurt. My face hurts, And yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know how to explain
Well, turn to the Bible when it says, "Ye are gods, and ye are children of the Most High." Right?
Yep.
So we all have that spark of divinity in us, and who knows? I mean, really, who knows what we've been up to before we took these bodies?
Yes. Maybe
Well,
he's
yeah.
that kind of hit me though. You know that Mr. Beans is I think I really believe that he was picking on something in my past life or maybe even my future life that he's telling me to stay down. That maybe he knows something that I don't know. He can see into the future.
Well, I think that a lot of us that have got these connections with them have these amazing experiences. I have some kind of powerful past or something that's connected to them, or we have some abilities that we're not cognizant of at the time. And I think that's probably the case with you, because they pick people that they've known for forever, basically, even before we consciously know them, and maybe even before this lifetime, so to speak.
Yeah. I think that somewhere, what I'm receiving now is I don't know my power yet, what I have. That's just what I'm receiving.
Oh yeah, well that's coming. Oh, listen to this lady, Renee Busick. She says, "I have a question. Has anyone in this group have a Sasquatch encounter?" I have. I think that's what she's saying, but I don't. Maybe you can.
What have we been talking about for 3 hours?
You can qualify that. I mean, everybody's had some kind of an encounter, so
Yeah.
If you can qualify that and ask the question again in a way we can answer it.
Yeah, that's kind of like saying that we felt rain coming down on our heads. Sorry, I don't mean to be.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't mean to be
I've been
insulting.
so close to them now that they actually tried to reach in and touch my phone. So to answer her question, we've been talking about, it's to the point now where I've had a physical experience with a dog man and a Bigfoot together. Now I've had them where they were cloaking or in a dark figure and they came right in and tried to grab my cell phone. So yeah, that's true.
I know Renee. So ask a little more specific question, because we've all had Sasquatch encounters.
I think she's thinking in her head of some particular encounter, but she didn't write it out like that.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean that's been since 2019. That's been steady, just really ramping up like crazy for me.
Do you want me to give her an encounter I had? Does she want a story or what? Or did she want to get more specific?
She hadn't got back to me yet. She might have.
Anyway, I'll tell you one quickly. Scott will like this anyway. So this happened a couple times to me. I'm walking along a forest path, and all of a sudden I see a Sasquatch materialize right out of thin air, fully materialized right in front of me.
Right.
Then it walked off the path and up the slope. And I said to my friend, and this is for Renee for her encounter, because Beans has heard this 1,000 times. I said to my friend, "Did you see that Sasquatch?" And the other interesting point to this story is that he saw a little dog. He didn't see a Sasquatch. He saw the exact same thing that happened, but he didn't see the Sasquatch. He saw a little dog do exactly what I saw the Sasquatch do. And that's because he was not ready to experience a Sasquatch. I was at the point where I was ready to experience it. And then later in the day, that guy, and this is interesting too, and this ties into glyphs, and you'll love this. I'm sure that you know about thought placement. They'll give you a thought and then the answer is right there, right?
Yes.
Or it can come later, but it's a form of telepathy and it's called thought placement. So later, after we experienced this, I'm walking around and we went to one of my favorite places, and I'm with this guy, and I said to myself, geez, I wonder if they left me a glyph. And it's dark out, right? Okay. I wonder if they left me a glyph out of the blue. I've got this swivel headlamp on, okay? Not with a hat on, obviously, or otherwise it wouldn't, but just on a bare head, swivel headlamp on, and I switch it on, and right illuminated in that light is one of my clan leader's signatures. Wow. A perfect 4 glyph, like as impressive as the ones I was showing you there, like not just a bunch of sticks on the ground.
Right.
A slam dunk 4 glyph right there. And it was the guy's signature who I saw walking across the path. And he was telling me that was me, right? So, there's a lot of stuff going on in that story, like cloaking, materializing, them showing themselves to 2 different people in a different way, thought placement, and then giving me an answer as to who it was. I mean, this is how detailed these guys' lessons are. This is how amazing these experiences that we share with them are,
powerful, very powerful.
Isn't that powerful?
I think it's awesome.
I had the thought, and there it is, like, whoa,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So and what if they come to us and they show themselves as, it could be something else, like he's seen a little dog, and my first thing is, okay, what in the world is a little bitty dog doing in the middle of the woods? What if they show us as a rabbit? What if they show us as a fox? What if they show us as a whatever? I think that's pretty cool that they're able to do that. One time I had a weird experience where there was a whole bunch of ravens, and these are not blackbirds, these are ravens, big birds.
I love ravens.
And they came in, there was a bunch of them. They're like probably 30 or 40 of them. I couldn't get over it. I was like, I've never seen this before. But they were cutting up and making all kind of racket. And what if that was them coming through, doing something? How
Absolutely.
about this?
No, that's sorry.
I don't know. Go ahead. But anyways, I thought about this is that, have you ever heard of them using birds to come and look at you?
100%.
Right.
Experience that a lot, like where something dramatic happens and then you see these 2 birds looking at you to see if you notice.
Right.
Or another thing is like, yeah, absolutely. Owls, ravens, stuff like that. this is not speculation. This is a fact. Or I'll have a thought. I see something, and I don't see a raven or hear a raven or anything all day, but I just at that second have a thought when I'm looking at something that they made, and I'm thinking, geez, I wonder, was that actually them? And then right over my head, this has not happened more than once, a raven, and one call. Yes. One affirmative call. And it has to kind of happen to you for it to actually people to connect what's going on, but it's undeniable. So they look through the eyes of these birds, they shape-shift into them, they're messengers through them. They show themselves to you in that form because, you know, it's a little less threatening than a big Sasquatch maybe walking up to you or something. Or
so the first night my wife had come home from her surgery, we had 3 of them females show up, and they were hooping and hollering, carrying them outside. It sounded like apes, it sounded like monkeys, and it sounded like owls all at the same time. I looked at my wife, I'm like, you hear that out there? She goes, yeah, they're checking on me, welcome me home.
Exactly. Yeah. All experiences too, where they've all been, I could tell you so many stories, but this is your show.
Oh, yeah. I'm enjoying this. I mean, really, I finally get to where I'm not being ridiculed. I'm not being drilled. I'm not being.
Oh, well, once you get off the air, we'll say, hey, what do you think of this and that? No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Speaking of the show, it's you know, we're coming up on 3 hours here. I'm gonna wind it down if you guys don't. And God, what a powerhouse this turned out to be. It's sort of one of my favorite shows. And this is the second show in a row where we've had honest to goodness mind speak channeling kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was really good energy. I love your clan. You know, you tell those guys I love them. They're doing you right, I think.
Yeah, they're a good gang, that's for sure. Well, how about if we're going to wrap it up then, how about we promise to have you back and we can share some more stories, or maybe we'll have a panel discussion, which we do sometimes.
And, yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I think you're still in the romance phase.
More pictures for you guys too. So I mean, I've got more pictures to show y'all and a few more stories and stuff. But I'd like to get some more of my stories and stuff, and then by then I should have more encounters for y'all. So I mean, I'm getting encounters all the time now. You know, I've even thought about writing a book, and just even if it's a journal, you know, of all the stuff that's been going on. It's really been.
Ask not what Sasquatch can do for you. Ask what you can do for Sasquatch. That's kind of the way it is. There's not much we can do but write books and talk about them.
I mean, it's just it's incredible. But you know what the thing of it is what I've gathered. They don't like to be bragged on. They really don't.
No.
You know, and
I think like to be talked about, and that's why there's so many people are talking about it.
Yeah, but not bragged out. You know, like, oh my God, they're like gods and stuff. Like, no, they don't like that. They like just to saying, okay, well, I've learned this from you. You know, it's like things that you're appreciative of and things that you respect them and love. And like I said, you know, I'm not ashamed to tell you that they've made me cry before. You know, and I thought that was pretty incredible the experience that I had. So.
Yeah.
Well, are you on Facebook there, Scott? Are you on Facebook?
We do have a channel. Me and David Hollis have us a Facebook.
David.
And the name of our Facebook page is Kisatchie Forest Bigfoot by David Hollis and Scott Pace. And so
you're with David Hollis. Yeah, he's pretty good, pretty well-known guy.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of stuff on him too, and he's very knowledgeable, and he's got a lot of things that happen to him too. I mean,
maybe you could have him come on the show with you, and we'll do like a little round table, and we'll invite a bunch of people on. That would be good.
Yeah.
Ask him if he'd be interested in that.
I'll talk to him and see what he says. We get him some better internet. That's the only thing is he has problems with his internet and stuff like that, which we have really good internet down here in South Louisiana. So where does
he live?
He lives in same area where I was telling about North Central Louisiana. That's where he's from. Just north of where he lives.
So was that like 45 minutes away or an hour?
Oh, that's actually about almost 3 hours away.
Oh, that's too far to just say, come on over to.
Yeah.
So, Scott, well, I'll show you my book. I just wrote this.
That's awesome.
400 pages.
400 pages. It talks about a lot of my experiences, and it's all woo. It's all woo and
Wow.
teachings and heartfelt stuff. It's not like I measured this track and, it's called A Sasquatch Story, My Life with the Clan of RE.
Yes. And where can I buy that? Do I have to?
You can get it on Amazon.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm gonna order that. Yeah. When I first got,
I don't know what your budget is, and I don't really think it's any of my business. But this is a black and white one.
Yes.
The color. But the pictures are black and white. But my pictures are pretty spectacular.
Yes.
And because they relate to the stories that I'm telling. There's a lot of pictures for each story. So if you can afford a color version, and I don't set the prices. Amazon makes you pay a lot of money for a color one. But if you can afford a color version,
get the color one.
It really enhances it. But
yes, I will. Yeah, I appreciate that because when I first got into this, I started buying books like crazy.
Yeah.
I bought everything, and I can tell you some of the books were good. Other books it was just reading material, But I started putting it into practice, and that's why I gained so much momentum. Was I would put into practice what people were doing, and so I took their lead. Started doing what they were doing, and then let me tell you something. It's just taken off. It really has, and so it's been incredible.
Yeah, I'm really proud of it. There's a lot of because it it's a true representation of my people, and I wrote it, but not kinda.
Exactly.
None of the words. It's all their words, and it's all
right.
filtered to them, and they're kind of like automatic writing almost, or something.
Yep.
So.
Well, you just basically whatever you're downloading, you're getting, you're inspired to write. They tell you put it in the book. So that's where I'm at right now. I need to start writing all this stuff down and talk about my experiences, and that's what I've been basically led to do.
Well, I think you're going to write a book eventually.
We got a reply from Renee Busick. She said about her experiences, and I remember her first question was, "Have any of y'all had an experience like this?" And here's more of a description of her experience. She says, "I was walking in the forest when I saw a Sasquatch standing by a tree, with one arm over the tree, and the other was beside of his body. Also, that same night, I saw a Sasquatch walk right in front that was invisible." So, have anybody had experiences like that?
Yes.
Yep.
I even got pictures of that.
Okay, there you go. That's your answer, Renee. Other people have had that experience, and there's some have got pictures.
Yeah. By the way, everybody, check out I'm not trying to promote myself, although I'm proud of my book, and I'm proud of my YouTube channel, because I talk about their core lessons and what they've taught me, and share like all my experiences and pictures and thoughts and whatever. And it's called Geez, I'm having a brain melt here. It's called Sasquatch BC, The True Story.
Yes.
On YouTube, and I've probably got 600 videos on there, man.
Wow.
Some of them are like, including every single Pork and Bean show, and some of the videos I just made, personal stuff or whatever, are like an hour and so long. So there's a lot of material on there, and anybody interested, you can check that out too. Sasquatch BC, The True Story.
YouTube. I'm a big huge tube guy.
Are you subscribed to my channel?
I am.
Oh, so you've seen some of my stuff.
Oh yeah, I have seen your stuff. I've seen y'all show a bunch of times before. So my first actual interview was with Mr. Kerry Arnold, and he actually gave me my first interview. And I want to say that my episode is 139 and 141. And so that's the two interviews that I have with him.
He did a really good job while he was around. I was really sorry to see him go.
Yes. God bless him, because he let a lot of us come in there and talk about our experiences and stuff, and he was a blessing. And him and Miss Linda are he was God sent. He really was. He did a lot for me, being able to talk and to. In fact, my interview with him was probably about 4 months or 5 months after my experience.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. It's good. Yeah, it's good to have a venue to talk about this stuff.
Yep. And it does.
Without ridicule. and our channel is really respectful. We've had the odd, like very, very odd disparaging remark, but for most groups or whatever, we're all really, really, really positive. There's all a bunch of people who are on board with this, so we're very blessed to have that.
I got two more questions before I go and before we all go. One question is, have you ever had an experience yet that was so profound that it made you want to cry, or you did cry? That's the first one.
You asking me or him or both of us?
I already know about you. This is our guest. I'm talking about guests.
Yes, I have. I've had where they just break me down in tears because the experience I had was so loving, and it wasn't a scary experience whatsoever. It was just, hey, look, we want to show you who we really are. That we're actually children of God, just like you are. We're a creation of God, is what they showed.
That's the icing on the cake. And the second question is, how has your life changed?
Oh, geez, that's my question. Okay, you ask it. Go ahead.
No, it's my question because you're busy.
That was going to be my question, but yeah.
I love you guys, but
how's your life changed from before you met Sasquatch until now? Is anything that you've added or subtracted or improved or?
Nothing has been subtracted for sure. It's all been additional. Everything has been totally life-changing, to be honest with you. It lets me know that there's more life forms out there than what we've been told, what we've been taught. There's more spiritual things that are there that we can tap into, that we have a lot of stuff as humans that we can do. We just don't know we can do them. And I'm learning all that now. I'm being taught some things. The out-of-body experience is what I would call it, I guess, is real. Sasquatch is real. Dogman is real. The cryptids are real. All of them are real. After going to Macy, Nebraska with Barry Webster and his family up there and spending the weekend with the Native Americans, I can tell you this, there's a lot of stuff out there that we just don't understand. Once you learn how to communicate with them, it's incredible. Like I said, his brother Derek called him right out. Just start speaking to him. It's like if I come to your house and stand outside and says, "Hey, Mr. Beans, come on out." And you walk out, like, "Whoa, there's Mr. Beans," That's how easy it was. I think it's a matter of us learning how to respect them and talk to them, and they're going to come right out to you.
Yeah, I'll agree.
300 comments.
Wow.
Well, are you going to come back? I wanted to say
I will.
that. Now, can you stay on for a couple of minutes after the show, Beans? I have to ask you something technical because I'm going. You, Mr. Beans, because I'm going to the States.
Sometimes I forget who I am.
I'm going to the States for 3 weeks, so I have to figure out how to. We're either going to have to take a 3-week hiatus, or I'm going to have to figure out how to do my show in the States. And I can't find my password and all that stuff on here for some reason. If I could, I think if I have my password for the Zoom thing, I can just do it on my wife's computer. But I don't know.
All you got to do is to start up a Zoom, and like you're going to use another computer, like a laptop or something.
Yeah, I won't be. I'm going. My wife is finally.
When you get on that computer, you go to Facebook, and then you click on Zoom, and then instead of putting your email address and your password, there's a little blue icon that says Facebook. Then you join with Facebook,
and it'll recognize it.
Or you can go to Zoom and join Zoom. And change your password, and then write the damn thing down and put it in your wallet. Change your password.
No, but the thing is I've got the professional Zoom, so it lasts for 3, 4, 5
hours. It's tied to your name.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You either change your password, like you forgot your password. Right now, you can do it. Then any computer you get hooked up onto, you just put in that password and your email address, and it'll hook you up.
Well, then I guess I better start booking some guests then, eh? Because I've got no guests booked between now and December 1st or 2nd when I come back. My wife's finally coming down.
Yeah, book them. That's fine. But if you're worried about it, you can practice. I mean, try it with another computer. Go to the library or something and try it with another computer. But change your
Okay.
password and write it down because you
Yeah,
can
because
join
I've got a
this
million
with-
passwords and I never write them down. I never remember them.
Well, then
All right,
take 3 weeks
y'all
off.
have
I
a-
don't care. It's up to you.
I'm gonna see y'all later. Okay.
See,
Okay,
you see,
let's-
we bored him to tears. Bye bye.
Hold on a
It's a great
second. Hold on a
show,
second.
man.
I got to end the show.
Hey, stop by Pork and Bean Show and say hello to all your people who are give them some little love for giving you 300 comments.
Yeah, stay on
Yeah,
for 1 minute, Beans. On behalf of Port Cunningham and the world's handsomest man, Frank Oliver Beans, this has been the Pork and Bean Show, and we would like to thank a very special guest, Scott Pace, your brother in arms, and yeah, I mean, you're one of us, man. You're one of us. You're a true beaner. We appreciate having you on the show, and you will come back, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all so much. All right. Good night.
See you all next time.
Thank you.
I'm not like everybody else. I'm not like everybody else. I'm not like everybody else. I'm not like everybody else.